Hello everyone, welcome to Battle Hub's unofficial broadcast of the OC December Cup Finals. I'm here with two lovely people. We have Lobo and Kyle here with me today. I'm going to start with you, Lobo. How are you doing? We're back for another session of a great Pokemon Unite.
Well, after what we witnessed yesterday, these teams are really going for it all. We saw some great matches. We saw some fun matches. And now we're here at day 2, and these guys are putting it on the line. Money's on the line. Pride's on the line. I'm so keen to see who's about to take this one home.
Yeah, speaking of money, Lobo, we have 3.5K on the line for these teams. 4 teams today competing out to become the champion of the December Cup. Kyle, we were just casting probably an hour ago from the NA region. You're doing the qualifiers. Now straight into the OC finals. How you doing?
Fantastic. A lot of good Pokemon Unite that we got to see in the NAC, like 80 plus teams. So it's been a good day so far, but the day is not done. I mean, Saturday for me, but Sunday for all you lovely folks.
Exactly. We're living the future. So, you know, Willow and I always joke that we know the winners already before they finish. We just are pretending. But speaking of the teams, though, we have 4 fantastic teams going head-to-head today. 2 in the winners bracket, 2 in the losers, coming off the 7 teams that competed yesterday. Just a reminder to all, the teams are Team Balance, Legends Reappear, Antic X Odium, and Bruff Esports. And we saw a few upsets yesterday, actually. Antic Odium, starting with the losers today, going up against Bruff Esports, looking to get their ticket back into the grand finals. Meanwhile, Balance and Legends Reappear having some new teammates in those teams, proving to be pretty effective yesterday, but only time will tell. Lobo, do you want to tell us about the bans today as we get into the game?
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about this yesterday. It was kind of uncommon that at the start of the UCS season that we have a perfectly clean slate of Pokemon. No bans, no glitches, no nothing, no bugs. Pokemon Unite seem nice and squeaky clean. But we get to the second cup of the season, and now those little gremlins are starting to show their face. We've got Darkrai, who has been hit with the Nightmare Bug himself. He is going to be unplayable today. Hooper, our little trickster mythical Pokemon, is going to be playable. However, there has been roadblocks sighted on the Hooper Highway, which means Hyperspace Hole is going to be completely out of commission. However, Hooper is still available for teams to play. It's going to be interesting to see how teams that rely on that Hooper Highway kind of moveset to really give them that rotation ability around the map are going to respond to this one. And it's not a bug, but Tinkaton is serving its mandatory 2-week sentence inside the moratorium jail. We just got to make sure that that little hammer is not dropping any bugs onto Theos Sky Ruin. So hopefully we'll see that Pokemon a little bit later. But for this cup, it is no bueno, Fu.
Yeah, he has to stay in that moratorium just in case it gets a little bit too strong. From what I've heard, though, this all-rounder is really whacking a lot of people by surprise in the ranked matches. So I guess in the next cup for January, we'll be able to see this Pokemon enter the fray. And while we have a little bit of time, while we get the first set up, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be spectating Balance against Legends Reappear. I thought maybe it'll be a good idea to introduce some of these players. Obviously, our region is still quite small, right? But the fact that we have some really good talented people coming through. You know, it's names that we want to watch throughout the season to see how they go, especially with EUIC coming up. OC will be able to send, I think, 2 teams going in, one through the AOS qualifiers, Antic X Odium, and I think from Twitter we've learned that Bruff Esports might be going there as well. So we'll keep everyone updated on that. But on the note of Balance, we saw last cup in the AOS qualifiers, but they've kind of changed a few members there. So Buster, Ben KO, and Orion are still going to be part of that team, but we have a Challenged and Yomi coming through. And it actually makes it 4 out of the 5 members of last season's Fury team making a comeback under the team name Balance. And Challenge was on LDR, or Legends Reappear, last cup, and they're going to be joining this team. And guess who they're going to go up against? Challenge will be versing some former teammates on the side of Legends Reappear, and that's going to be the original 2024, so last season Legends Reappear, IC Ethos, Xavier, Manny, and Chi-Chi will be rounding off that roster as well. So a fiery match to start off today's broadcast. We watched a little bit yesterday, Lobo, and Kyle, obviously, we'll try to keep you updated on kind of like the bans that are coming through. But from what I remember, it was still the typical no Mimikyu, no Psyduck. But, they did allow Umbreon on some of the games. But no more Garchomp, though, which is what we saw a lot in the AOS Cup qualifiers. Kyle, we saw a bunch of Garchomp today in the NA qualifiers. Do you think perhaps that there's still a little bit of credibility for that Pokemon?
I think people are just sleeping on it, right? Garchomp is such a strong top laner, mostly because of its ability to really solo that top lane. You can push stacks, it can catch people off guard even as a Gibble or a Gabite, so you don't necessarily always need that level 9. And then when you get into level 9, you become that pseudo-legendary monster that's really tough to go against. If you find yourself alone, you could take all the farm, you could take that objective by yourself. Like, Garchomp's just such a good tool to have in your pocket. And I think, like, one thing when we're talking about just the meta in general, teams just need to make sure that they have something on their team that can shred objectives. And Garchomp is the best in the game to do it.
Yeah, that's a great point as well, and especially having no more Mimikyus, right? In a lot of the matches here today, just always banned out. Shadowclaw is one known to be able to shred down a lot of defenses, going through defenders, and also just the Rayquaza or any of the Regielekis or basement Regis available. Garchomp does fill that role. Well, I do remember we saw an XP share Garchomp in a few grassroots tournaments ago, and that was really whack for me, but they did make it work. But you can take it off and still make it a viable top half Pokemon. Now, the other Pokemon that I actually saw a lot in the NA qualifiers is Mew coming back without the XP share. Now, Lobo, what do you think? Do you think that this is a Pokemon that is now deserved to be coming back into the competitive scene without the XP share anymore? Obviously, Fennel was the one that pioneered the XP share Mew, but are we going to see some, damaged Mew coming out?
So I think that's a great question, and it's really food for thought, because when Mew first got released, it was one of the Pokemon that started breaking the mold of how Pokemon got released in Pokemon Unite, because it's got all of those different various movesets. It's got Coaching, Electro Ball, Light Screen, Solar Beam, Surf, and Agility. It is such a versatile Pokemon, and it takes a very, very versatile player to play it. And so understanding where EXP share comes from, incredible, because it only needs level 5 to start cycling through those moves. However, Damage Mew is incredible. Electro Ball, probably one of the best secures in the game. It's able to zone people away from it when it gets dived on with Light Screen. Solar Beam does massive damage. To have a Venusaur level Solar Beam at level 5 is kind of ridiculous. Also, that Solar Beam cooldown does go down the more people you hit. So just being able to pop Solar Beams, especially in a meta right now that is heavily focused towards all-rounders, is kind of ridiculous. And on that other side, just in terms of team compositions, all of the all-rounders that we're seeing that are coming through, they have a specific purpose. Like you're saying, your Garchomps and your Mimikyus, they're able to rip and shred. Your Urshifus, your Blazikins, your Aegislashes, they are Pokemon that are not only able to sustain in team fights, but they also have incredible secure. So now you're adding a Mew that's not able to heal as well with Coaching, but also zone away with Surf, and then also secure with Electro Ball, and then also put damage as well as secure with Solar Beam. It becomes such a good utility mon, and now people are seeing that it can be played with EXP share. But hey, why not just put big damage on teams that are just going to try and run at us, because you're not going to be able to chase down a Mew. And that Unite move means that Mew can get out of dodge pretty easily.
Yeah, you really do feel like you're playing like 4 different or 3 different Pokemons when you're playing Mew. Kind of like a 3-for-1 bargain. So definitely something to watch out today, whether people will be picking it up. I do know that Miraidon is still heavily contested in this region. So I think we probably won't be able to see that mythical Pokemon unless something like a Miraidon ban comes through. The other bans that I can think about on the top of my head is a Psyduck ban, right? I feel like this region, they really do not like going up against Psyduck. So something to watch out for as well. And Psyduck, I think behind the scenes we're talking about how it's hard for Pokemon to push out a supporter Pokemon that is popular amongst all the regions. And Psyduck, obviously, without its evolution to Golduck, staying in Psyduck the entire time has appealed to a lot of fans of this game. And being a supporter, but like having moves that can, really take down a Pokemon such as Glaceon when you run at it, the Swift Swim, right, and also the ability to disable and add a cooldown onto your moves. I think it's just like a Sableye, but does damage. and a lot of these teams don't want to play against it. But speaking of supporters, though, what about Blissey and Umbreon, though? See, Umbreon is playing that supporter's role in this argument here. But Kyle, for example, do you anticipate maybe Blissey getting banned out today, or we're gonna let the ping block through?
I think it's possible, right? Blissey is still one of the better supporters, and it really enables those heavy dive Pokemon with that blissful assistance and those big team engages. But
yeah,
I mean, if you look at the straight math, I mean, Eldegoss is one of the best supporters for its money as far as win rates go. It's just not as flashy as Blissey. You don't see those really huge team fights. Eldegoss just kind of sits there. It does its job very well. It knocks up or it slows with the basic attacks. It shields with Cotton Guard. It stuns with Cotton Spore, and then heals with Pollen Puff. Only move that you don't see getting a lot of competitive play is that Leaf Tornado. But I mean, it's just kind of a good supporter. People just really heavily value the Blissey, but like when you look at the raw numbers, you look at every tournament that's happened over the last few months, Blissey is usually just hovering that 50% mark, sometimes even falling below it. So I think it just really depends on the team comp, because teams can really play around a Blissey and kind of draft against it.
And I think for this cup, it's especially important to prioritize some of these supporters, because Hooper, the hyperspace hole is now not able to be used today. So one of the best, I guess, abilities or moves to heal your teammates, sending them back in the home pad, is not going to be available. So you're going to be looking for that Eldegoss, like you said, and also that Blissey to help you keep it sustained in some of these fights, right? And Bliss Assistant is such a good Unite move for that purpose. However, if you ban it away from the enemy team, and they can only play something like a Hooper or a Blissey, right? Obviously unlikely, because these teams have made it so far. But in the event that happens, you're really stuck with an Umbreon or an Eldegoss, which is probably going to be prioritized by the other team anyway. So we might see, something more of a XP share attacker come back, because they have no more Pokemons to kind of help out with the healing. And unless you want to play a Sableye or your XP share Psyduck, you're kind of stuck, right? So we might see a lot of just aggressive drafts coming through today, all about that damage, all about just taking advantage of the poke and able to win that team fight before it gets extended to a refight or a position where everyone is really low, everyone has to spend all that time backing because there's no free highway to go back home. And so I think the ban's obviously not the best for a lot of these teams, but it really sets up a nice environment for us to see what are the other Pokemons that these teams can bring, right? Right. Okay, so we just have heard from production that the match will be set up, ready to go. I like to put everyone on the spot for our first matchup, Carl and Lobo. I'll start with you, Lobo. Who takes it today in this balance against Legends Reappear?
Oh, that's a real interesting one. I think both teams very strong. Both teams draft very strong. Both teams have very intelligent players. Balance for me. They've got the intelligence. We saw the way Bem played and very intelligently on, especially even using Pokemon like Greedent. Naomi managed to get a massive yawn predicting the Hooper Unbound.
The Hooper portal,
the Hooper portal, and managing to yawn anybody that came right through the Hooper portal. It all depends on just how momentum goes. I think Balance have a bit of momentum right now, and they are players that have been playing quite well. So I'm just going to call Balance for this one.
Okay, well, Kyle, obviously some of these players you are a little bit aware of, but with the roster change as well, give us your best shot. What do you predict will be the winner of this
I'm
set?
going Balance as well. I'm a Naomi fan. I see that they come in my chat all the time when I'm commentating for various tournaments, so they've put in their homework. They've got their competitive hat on. They're ready to go. I'm excited to see what they're able to bring to the Thea Sky Runes here in this first round matchup. So Balance on top.
Yeah, well, very well said. I think a fun fact about Naomi as well is in that last AS Cup qualifier, they were heading the Silly Goose Academy, which was a team I think a lot of people enjoyed watching because they brought something different in each of the game that goes through. Unfortunately, that team is no longer a thing, but we do see members of that team going on to different teams as well. For example, Naomi on a Balance, and also Heyo from that team has entered for Nation, which played yesterday's match. And just while we're waiting for this match to set up as well, I also wanted to bring up a specific moment yesterday talking about a little bit before, Lobo, where Sulawu from Rough Esports were able to secure 1v4 against Nintendo Rats, and that was actually the moment that allowed them to actually make it to today. And for a team that was just relying on one person, the pressure that you would have had as as the only person able to make the difference there, and then actually executing it, I think the team was incredibly happy. They also played with a sub for a few of those games, so big shout out to Bruff Esports for actually making it today to day number 2. But they have a Titan to go up against. They're going to be going up against Antic X Odium as well. So 2 of these teams looking to go to EUIC, but who takes it out for December? We'll find out very, very soon as we're going to get this next set going on. But, it's like they say, right? Anything can happen in a Rayquaza fight. You could be down to one member. But if you lose the Rayquaza, a lot of the time, you're going to be able to lose that game. And without a Hooper there and the hyperspace hole to kind of help you with that points lead and those rotations, it's going to be just rushing to objectives today and really picking off these fights, isn't it?
I find this very interesting, as we've all had a chance to spectate grassroots tournaments all over different regions. I find this interesting where the more experienced teams are now really pushing the pressure in the early game, and they're getting a 200 to 300 point lead before the Rayquaza even decides to spawn. So it's kind of a new mentality switch for some of these teams where, hey, Rayquaza is too much of a coin flip. Like, even if a team gets 500 points in, we still possibly have the ability to get 150 to 250 points to make it a close game. And I think that shift in mentality is absolutely fantastic, because now we're seeing the aggressive openings to matches. We're not seeing just a few points going in. I think, Fu, you and I witnessed it not too long ago. It was not even, I think the 8-minute mark had just crossed, and we had teams at 150 points. Going in, and it was just fully aggressive. The central area invades were there, the top lane invades were there. We now seeing people leave one member of their team in bot lane to really get an aggressive start on another lane. Now we're seeing the counteractive when a team notices that they're versing a 4v2, they send another member down and they do the exact opposite. So that's how we're getting these really high stakes points in matches. And I think it's a shift that I like. Rayquaza is way too much of a coin flip. I'm curious what you guys think about that in terms of the way that the game sense is changing, not just in terms of meta and compositions, but how we're viewing that last 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. And I think we saw some couple of close calls today, Carl and I, watching one of the games specifically where one team was so ahead, but they went to flip the Ray, but then they lost it to an Eldegoss, and in the end, they ended up losing the entire game. So it's like stuff like this can happen. What I'm going to do, actually, while we get the next set up, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a quick break while we check on the status of our first set, see whether we can bring it to you as soon as possible. But don't go anywhere. Action for our first broadcast will come very soon.
Welcome back, trainers, and we are back. Have a little bit of the game here. Balance is going to be on your purple side. Legends reappear on your orange side. And then a little bit of technical difficulties, but we are so back. Me and Lobo will be taking you through this match.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Since we got Alola Ninetales with Aura the Dragon, I'm probably going to try and secure this with Hyper Beam as they do Legends Reappear, taking that Regieleki off the map.
Regieleki pushing towards this T1. Emerald two-step out from this Leafeon, taking down the Alolan Ninetales. Regieleki walking in, goal zone, threatened, goal zone down. Legends Reappear, taking a big win early on.
He has had a lot of experience on that Leafeon, that Emerald. Valuable Unite move, Kyle. Able to do so much damage, but what I'm seeing interestingly here, the Mimikyu set out of the Bandgel, and it's going with that Trick Room move set. We never get to see Trick Room.
I love Funny Room. A lot of almost unlimited dashes while you're in the room. But right now it's not quite paying dividends. Unite move not quite available yet. You see that lacking a yellow dot. As Legends Reappear, they're looking to just mostly defend this basement path.
I like Trick Room because it's to counter that Leafeon speed, but big heavy slam goes in as there's a nice engage coming up.
Snorlax gonna push the team towards their own pad. Hyper Beam out a little bit short. Mewtwo Y has now hit the map, and they're gonna hold their A button as hard as they can.
Mewtwo Y gets that beautiful Mega Evolution, and now the Side Strike on to the Dragon Knight as Ethos gets taken down. Trick Room and into the Infinite Cyberm. Kyle, Balance looking to push back onto this and try and get more of a foothold in this match.
They still haven't been able to find anything. This Crustle, along with the Clefable combo, has really just kept the squad alive for a long time, and Balance just hasn't been able to put any pressure on that side of the map. But looking to move maybe towards this top path, as we do see the Mimikyu fighting the Serena.
The Serena, Xavier on that, sorry, Chi-Chi on that Serena. Pikachu is there. EXP share. Pikachu coming out from a Buster, going for that Thunder moveset into the Trick Room, into the Volt Tackle as well. And there is the play with me.
Play with me out. Serena also gonna get another Unite move. This time it's the Pikachu. Mewtwo Y taking them down to close that out. Mewtwo Y gonna go and press forward, looking to take down the Dragonite, but here comes Leafeon Emerald two-step. Mewtwo Y is going to have to dash on away before getting a KO on Pikachu.
That's a beautiful block coming out into the Snow Globe, and now Balance seem to have a foothold. They're getting some scores on in, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to break that pad.
Yeah, they just get the 40 off, looking to try to dunk the other 40, but unable to do so because the rest of the reinforcements had arrived. Mewtwo Y Mega Evolved once again. Rubble Rouser out from this Crustle, looking to press forward. Unable to get the Mewtwo Y, but Serena, those boots are made for stomping. They pick him up, throw him down, and Snorlax is going to be the wall that everybody needs. Balance holding pretty strong here in this team fight.
Absolutely. Try the Serena managed to get out. You can't stop the Queen, but Side Strikes then. Clefable's just going to cause another bit. Trick Room. Oh, and a nice takedown on the Mimikyu. LDR defending as well as they are attacking. And Ethos going to be taken down on that bottom tier 2. Scores looking pretty even across the board. 4 KO streak. But as I say that, Caster's Curse, Kyle? LDR just going to try and score some points in that bot path.
Trying, but this is a great defensive stand. Yomi able to use that block to shove team out. Infinite Cyburn hits a couple. Crustle going down at the hands of the Mewtwo. And this is a good little bit of XP that Balance needed to kind of hold their balance in this basement path. Play with me out once again, looking to take down this Leafeon, who is level 13. It's going to be a tough task. Another shield here. We have the Snorlax taking a little bit of a nap, and they're able to heavy slam right on top of the Leafeon.
Beautiful heavy slam, and now it's blocking it away. Those Thunders really putting in a lot of damage, but Buster almost getting caught out as challenges here to provide some heavy cover with that Mega Mewtwo Y as it just de-evolves there. 40 seconds until that Rayquaza spawns, and their scores are still pretty even. However, only one tier pad has been destroyed, Kyle.
Kind of stalemate in this basement path. Both teams really trying to push. It's been a little bit back and forth all match long, and neither team really able to get any advantage down there. However, Legends Reappear still has a bit of an advantage in this top path. They have that goal zone. That's going to put a little bit of pressure on Balance because that Lecky is going to push towards that T2.
It just depends whether Balance are going to go and fight it. It looks like not, because they're just going to let it walk on in. That creates a few dunks where Balance is going to have a bit of pressure going into this Ray fight. But however, nice Crustle Rock Tomb, just trying to find people out. The Rayquaza has spawned, Kyle. It's all going to be about which team decides to blink first. And it seems like there's something going on, but it looks like Serena's going to go get a nice little dunk into that bot side, into that top side path. And now all teams converging on this Rayquaza.
This might be the time to shine. This is where legends are made. Legends reappear. We're going to have some Unite moves flying out. Queenly Ascendant is going to be right on top of the Pikachu. However, we have the Infinite Cyburn from the Mewtwo. All these Unite moves, and it's Balance that's coming out ahead as 2 members for Legends Reappear go down. Now we have 3. Leafeon's down. Dragonite's forced to utilize their Unite move all the way back, and Balance is moving on this Rayquaza, Lobo.
Oh, unbelievable. But Dragonite's about to come back in. Even Hyper Beam at that range, not going to be able to secure. And Balance is going to secure the Rayquaza. Ether's going to get caught by that. But the Hyper Beam going to manage to take Orion's shield away. Buster's going to score in the top side. So Balance have taken the lead with 1 minute left to go.
4:17, 2:45. There's still plenty of time. This basement pad might be the target for Legends Reappear. They still need at least 2 or a little bit less than 200 points to get back in this one. We're going to see the final push here. We have all 5 members looking to go. Mewtwo Y going to throw a little side strike. They're going to push on forward. Serena looking for a way, but they're being blocked out by Naomi. Great block from this Snorlax, and there is no wall that can be penetrated by Legends Appear because Balance has taken this game 1.
When an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, something has to give, Kyle. And Naomi just was not ready to give up that push, their beautiful block, really pushing LDR back. And that is going to be game 1 to Balance. Oh my God. I almost messed that up.
Oh, what a match that was. Really great job from Balance. They kept their composure despite kind of losing a lot of that match, right? I mean, the levels were kind of in advantage of Legends Reappear. The score line was in their advantage. They had more goal zones broken. So they really came together at that Rayquaza pit and they found their way in. They found their win condition.
So I actually just want to point this out really quick because we jumped into that match just a little bit late, around the 7-minute mark. So we had a few, issues going on with that, but we managed to get the feed up and running. I wanted to point out 2 things. 1, we saw a Trick Room Mimikyu.
Yeah.
2, we saw a Mimikyu, so I'm very happy anyway. But I just noticed that the Aurora Veil on the Alolan Ninetales, and then I also noticed the Avalanche set on the Alolan Ninetales. Interesting combination coming out from the side of Balance. Also EXP share Pikachu, something that we have seen. So I'm very much liking the way these team comps are coming around. What do you make of that?
I think they're being a little bit unorthodox, but I think that's a good thing. That means that they're thinking outside the box, that they're thinking a little bit differently from, your standard, we're going to follow this formula. So I love when teams do that, because it really forces the opponent to be off balance per se. So you're going to catch them off guard. They don't necessarily know how to play into that. It does benefit that opposing team to get to a game 3 because maybe they find their footing, but Balance, they're going to want to close this one out in 2 because it was honestly a masterful Ray fight. They really picked their targets properly.
It's really interesting. We talked about this previously, and I would be very curious to see what the bans were. But we talked about it with Fu. We talked about the Blissey. We talked about the Elder Goss. But Clefable is what we saw in that matchup for the side of LDR. And I think I played devil's advocate yesterday when we talked about it, where I'm actually much more preferable to a Clefable because it has that area effect healing as opposed to a single target healing. And now that we're in an all-rounder type meta, you want to keep your all-rounders healthy, especially with Follow Me as well. Clefable gets tanky, and it's just able to, it's a healer that's able to stay in the fight with the all-rounders for the entirety of the time. Now, the second thing I want to bring up, I want to get your thoughts on that first before we head on into game 2, but then the Dragonite. Dragonite didn't receive too many nerfs or buffs, but Hyper Beam has never not been a good secure. Very interesting to see that come up, and now that all-rounders are, we talked about at the start, you need that secure potential, especially if you're going to flip a Ray.
Rayquaza is obviously the most important objective of the match. Objectively, I'd say.
Objectively.
You need secure. So yeah, Dragonite Hyper Beam is kind of one of the best tools. Obviously, Blaziken being a very good one, maybe arguably the best. I think it depends. Personally, I think Blaziken's a little bit better just because it's got the unstoppable. Dragonite can be knocked out of there, so you really need to utilize that full heal properly. But back to your point about Clefable. I do love Clefable. It did receive some love in one of the most recent patches, so it got a couple buffs. I don't think it was enough to really throw it back into relevancy because I think a team can really pick around a Clefable. There's a lot. If you play with a Clefable, usually the idea is to group up a lot. So you may see teams kind of pick against that, find something that can really anti-heal it. I mean, you think like a Delphox, you think maybe like a Venusaur, something that can really be a target against it. And then the existence of cursed items really hurts the Clefable because it just compounds because you're trying to heal multiple, or you're anti-healing multiple targets as well. So
Mm,
that's kind of why a lot of teams have kind of moved away from it. I think it's still
mm.
fine, but I think you just kind of have to be strategic with it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to head on into this second game. Maridon is going to be there. Naomi is going to have that unstoppable wall in
Mm.
Snorlax once again. Balance are on your purple side. Once again, Legends Reappear are on your orange side. As we've got a Urshifu hitting Thea Sky Ruins alongside an Inteleon, a Crustle, a double Eevee on the side of Legends Reappear, Kyle.
Oh, I love the double EV. I'll see which ones they are. Didn't quite get a glimpse of it just yet. We have that
Mm.
Dragonite once again. So we got an Umbreon Leafeon in this top half. Really look for Legends Reappear to really press forward with this Leafeon early on.
Yeah, absolutely. Usually we see it take that middle buff, but the Thunder's going to come out from the side of Balance. They're going to take a lot of that, but Maridon is here. It has a wall in front of it. It's just going to put on a lot of pressure as those middle Altarias are close to spawning, Kyle.
I love the Snorlax with the combination with that Maridon. I
Mm.
imagine we're going to see that Charge Beam come out, so really look for some backline damage from that Maridon.
Yeah, but we've got Athos here. The Thunder's going to go on. That is going to just secure it. Bam is here with the Urshifu as well. Razor Leaf's going to go on in. This Naomi has come up to decide to aid her team, but Buster is going to take that quick trip back to the Pokemon Center as it heads on back, gets a KO. Kind of even for both teams. Scores at 0-0.
It's as even as it gets. It's as uneventful as a game gets too. No scores going in just yet. I don't think there's very many KOs yet. It might not have been any at this point. Do you have that Drizzile that I'm really kind of monitoring? We'll see if that thing goes with the snipe shot build. I really do like that, especially into a Maridon. It could kind of outrange it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure if liquidation too necessary to be played as we head on into the middle part here for those Altaras. Do they take the team fight? Do they take the Altaras? Maridon wants the team fight. Naomi's going to pull on all the damage. They're going to get it. Heavy Slam's going to come on in. Inteleon's going to evolve into full big wicked blow onto Ethos, but it gets taken down by the crit from the Inteleon. Naomi's just going to try and get away. A beautiful breaking of the ankles to avoid the Rock Tomb. I think Balance got most of that farm, but LDR managed to get the KOs.
I'm really monitoring the situation with this Inteleon. It's hitting some snipe shots right now, so really look forward to what this late game holds for them. The other thing you got to think about is this Leafeon needs to really look to take out that Maridon as much as possible, because if you can't hit your snipe shots, you need to have something, and Leafeon's a great counter against it.
So a big heavy slam by Naomi is going to go in. Thunder's going to hit. Thunder's going to hit as well. Umbreon just has to get out. Wicked Blow is charged up and ready to go, but Beckham unable to hit anything as these teams rotate to the top path. Again, fights all around, and I think Balance might want to start this Regieleki as early as possible as Naomi is just there to block it off. Going to take a quick nap. Then Regieleki is at half. Athos is here with the Hyper Beam secure. It's Hyper Beam versus Wicked Blow. It is going to go to the Wicked Blow, Kyle, as BMKO gets a beautiful secure over the big dragon.
Shout out that Clefable, perfectly placed gravity, stunned the Dragonite from that Dragon Dance, so they were not able to get that boosted Hyper Beam in there on time. So Urshifu able to clean that up. Fantastic plays here from Balance.
Absolutely. Their balance is looking very balanced at the moment. Challenge is doing absolute wonderful work. Just on the Maridon, not really actually coming to a lot of these fights, just getting its levels here. And Buster going with that gravity moveset. You were talking about Leafeon's movement before. It has to be very wary of when it jumps in because it can get caught in that gravity circle.
You got to be aware. You need to know the cooldowns. You have to have the communication from your team of when they fire it so you know exactly when they have it up. Wicked Blow from this Urshifu is going to also be clutch. But again, look at these snipe shots here, Lobo.
Absolutely. Crustle has to pull out the eject here. Snipe shot just barely missing a BAM KO on that one. Manny is on a low amount of health, but that doesn't really matter to Crustle. Never mind, it does matter. The throat shot goes in. Ethos is going to secure the Regirock, but Naomi is there to stop Leafeon from scoring. Thunderstorm's going to come on in, doing big amounts of damage as BAM KO steals the Citrus Berry away. Buster has seen that his attacker is in all dire straits. Pulls out the RNG roll. Manages to get block, double walls for the side of balance. And Legends Reappear need to find a way to cross this and make sure that they can actually get it. But Kyle, the scores are 30-30.
I mean, we talked about it at 0-0. It's 30-30 right now. I mean, these teams are very even, just kind of back and forth with these objectives. Balance gets one, Legends gets one. I mean, it's been all over the map right now. We'll see what happens with this top Regieleki that's going to be spawning in 3 seconds, because all the members from both squads are up here except for the supporter and then the basement attacker in the bottom half.
Yeah, here we go. We're going to go in. Emerald 2-Step's going to go onto Orion. Pikachu's going to get quick Teo. Bright Future Meteor Storm is going to come on out from Challenge. Not able to do too much sustaining from there. Bev is low. It's going to throat chop in away from the cross, avoiding that X's, but goes down. Again, too much damage perhaps. Leaving Buster in that bottom path without the healing ability was not the smartest decision. Regieleki tramples and marches his way to tier 2.
I like this break here from Legends Reappear. They're able to break it before the Regieleki walked in. That's kind of enabled additional pressure on the side of balance. And this might enable a basement basement bot 1 push. So we're going to see Dragonite. We're going to see Umbreon here. We'll see if they're able to get here before this Urshifu.
Urshifu managing to stop the Umbreon from breaking that pad to get 20 overcap. We have got Wicked Blow going on here. Dragonite's going to have to unite just to get on out of there. But Umbreon, even with the eject, was not able to do anything. Crustle forced to use his eject button as well to avoid the Naomi wall. Buster is in the top path, coming up against a Leafeon to try and score a quick 40, but we got a skirmish, and the bottom Reggie has decided to spawn, and Ethos is just going to try and clear this one off the map with Urshifu nowhere to be seen. Battle of Secures once again, Kyle.
Yeah, Dragonite's doing just a fantastic job. This is kind of what you imagine what you'd want your Garchomp to be doing. Legends Reappear picking that Dragonite instead, because it kind of a little bit of both worlds, right? Like, it still has good shred, but it has that secure tool that Garchomp really doesn't have.
And there's the range coming up from Challenge on the Miraidon. Inteleon getting caught with the wall. Can they go on? Throat Chop Toes goes in. Gigasaur Spy Vision's going to come out. Those crits are going to be heavy. The Meteor Storm rains down onto Tier 1 as we go on in here. There's the Thunderstorm coming in from Orion on the Pikachu. That is a quick 3 KO as Leafeon is going to try and counter score inside that top path. Beautiful engage on the Thunderstorm, but it might have been just a little bit late.
Little consolation prize for this Inteleon, picking up the Snorlax with another perfectly placed snipe shot. Legends Reappear, though, I think the consolation prize they're more interested in is going to be this one right here, this Regieleki. Give them additional scoring, but Snorlax is going to be a tough task, a tall wall to break down.
Yeah, absolutely. Bem is here. Challenge is here. Icy Melody is absorbing that charge beam, but Leafeon is going to try and go right after Challenge on the Mirana. Has to pull out its eject button. Going to pull the the Emerald 2-Step at 216. Orion is on a HP and a dream, but he's found by Chi-Chi, and that's going to go down. Rubble Rouse is going to come out as well. Bem is in there with the Wicked Blow. Clefable gets the KO on Leafeon. Clefable does go down. There are 2 members down for each side of the team, and now Inteleon and Dragonite here just to rip the Rayquaza as Naomi goes in with a beautiful heavy slam into the block. Naomi's the only one here. Challenge is here. Who's going to take it? Oh! The Hyper Beam went early, Carl, but they still managed to secure it.
That was so scary for Legends Reappear that Rayquaza was sitting on 1 HP. They still have some shields. They'll still be able to get some scores. I think this is going to be Legends Reappear's game to lose, but oh man, that Ray was so there for the taking. Naomi unable to get that basic attack off in time, and Legends Reappear still a minute left, but they have a pretty good score.
Yeah, Dragonite managing to take down Urshifu. There's still a minute and a half left to go. That Rayquaza fight popped off a lot early. Naomi with a huge block, allowing Balance to come back in. And they still have a minute, Kyle. And the scores, it's only doubled. There's no shields left on the side of Legends Reappear. The scores are doubled. Oh, big snipe shot on the Pikachu. As I say that, Inteleon does have its shield, and now these scores are going in.
Yeah, they're flying in now. Another 100 from Umbreon, maybe another 100, maybe inevitable. Except this Miraidon is going to have something to say about that. Leafeon going to have to dash on away, but unable to do so. They're heading back via the Pokemon Center this time. Russell coming in from the backside, looking to now do some damage. There's the huge play, another big snipe shot. And this one might be one for the books here, Lobo. Legends reappear,
Uh,
tying it up.
Yeah, this one's in the history books. This one will read 1-1 heading on into the final 18 seconds. But Inteleon picking up a quick KO of 4. I don't know. Do we stat pad in Pokemon Unite, Carl? Do we stat pad a
Oh, we
little
sure
bit here?
do. We sure do. Got to get those extra points, make it look a little bit more lopsided than it actually was. But either way, it's a win in the books. Legends reappeared in the win column this time. We're going to an ever so important game number 3. 807, 139, your final at this one.
Oh, wow. Look at 97K coming out
Yeah.
from JV on the Inteleon. Chi-Chi with an ever impressive 87K as well. And I see Melody. Look at those heals. Who says you need a traditional healer on your side for that one? Because Umbreon doing a great job, not only tanking damage, but recovering their team. But again, what a close game, Kyle. Unbelievable. Should we talk about that Rayquaza fight?
I mean, it broke out super early, right? It broke out at the 220 mark over that Regieleki in that top path. So started a bit early. Legends Reappear was really ready to pull the trigger on their Unite moves, and they were able to do so. And they did it fast, right? Like they wanted to go full out. They understood the condition. They knew that if they took down, the Miraidon, they took down a lot of their shred, and they just went fully for the Ray. They knew they had the Secure on their side.
It was, again, so Ethos hit the Hyper Beam on the Rayquaza. The Rayquaza was on a tick. But inside that Rayquaza pit, what you saw was the Thunder from the Miraidon was just out of the Rayquaza pit, so it wasn't going to get that area effect tick damage onto the Rayquaza because it was not targeting Rayquaza, it was targeting a member of Legends Reappear's team. So maybe that's smart movement by their team to make sure the Thunder stays away. Charge Beam could have hit it, but the move stopped just before it did. And then it all said and done, it was a basic attack that secured the Rayquaza on an HP in a dream.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Heartbreak there. Balance was like that close, right? From being able to steal victory out of the hands of defeat. I don't know. It's close. It's close.
They had the advantage as well. They managed to get the KOs in the top path, but they had an Inteleon that had Azure Spy Vision already up, and they had a Dragonite ripping it. So even getting there as quick as
that's why you play Rip. I mean, I talked about it in the pregame. How valuable is having something that can just full send on an objective if you have a slight advantage where you know where everybody is. Yes, Balance did get some pivotal KOs there, but you left the Rip on the table, you left the Secure on the table, and they took those two Pokemon and did what they did best, right? That's why a lot of teams are playing Garchomp, because even with a Garchomp just by itself, there's always that threat of a full Rip. Same with the Dragonite, but when you have that Dragonite and the Inteleon, you have your Rip, you have your Secure with two Pokemon. I think they felt comfortable going ahead and ripping there because they knew that there were still two members down of Balance, and that Urshifu had to go full send back to the base because they were on 1 HP. Crustle had completely shut them down.
Absolutely. As we wait for this game 3 situation to come up, I have just been told by production as well that Antic and Bruv Esports have also gone to 1 apiece. So, Carl, we had so many game 3 situations going on last month, and it seems like Oce just wants to set that pace again. Big shout outs to our production. We managed to get some of the teams that were played. So AXO in the first game against Bruff Esports, they played Serena, Leafeon, Mimikyu, Eldegoss, and Trevenant. Against Bruff Esports' Tyranitar, Zacian, Espeon, Hooper, and Umbreon as well. And in the second game, from what I am just seeing, give me one sec. So the second game, Bruff Esports brought out the Mimikyu, Leafeon, Glaceon, Clefable, and Snorlax into AXO's, that's Antic X Odium, Zacian, Ninetales, Eldegoss, and Umbreon. So a lot of very unusual picks being shown there, but they are at 1 apiece as well. And we are going into game 3 situations for both sides here. So I'm super excited to see how this goes. I wonder, what are we going to see in that? What are your thoughts on just what we just saw?
I mean, I imagine, right, that you'll probably see Dragonite again, or maybe something of the sort. Dragonite was very strong for Legends reappear. Seems like a lot of teams prioritize that Pokemon. It's very popular because of what we saw. It has the rip. It has a good secure. There are a couple of times, though, where Dragonite didn't quite get the secure right. I mean, you saw it there at the Ray. Could have ended very poorly for them. Just very, very maybe not a little bit, maybe a little bit of luck, maybe a little bit of skill, right? To be able to get that right after getting the Hyper Beam. But you know, it's we'll see what these teams bring out. I do still love Dragonite though.
Dragonite, I think, is such an interesting Pokemon because it has, again, it's a versatility moveset. Because you talked about it before. If you want a Pokemon that can rip,
Do we lose Lobo? Oh no! I think we may have lost Lobo. He looks very handsome here, but yeah, you want to go to the grand finals. You have to go to the grand finals. It's the easiest way to win the money, right? You don't want to have to go through that lower side bracket and force that reset. But you know, it's one of those things. We'll see how it plays out here. I'm like, back to Lobo. What Lobo said. I'm looking at these games from Bruff, and we saw a Tyranitar played. Is Tyranitar a popular pick here in OC? Because I don't think I saw it at all in the previous rounds. 2 weeks ago or anything previously.
Oh, there we go. Hi guys, I'm Lobo version 2. No, that's a great question. So Tyranitar isn't played that much in the region, but what I do know is Bruff Esports likes to bring something out that's a bit different. They like to experiment, and sometimes they send that Larvitar in that bottom path there actually with their defender, and using the how everyone likes to sack the bottom path in that 850 birds, everyone rotates up top for a 4v4, right? That gives the Larvitar ample time to kind of farm up the wild Pokemon and get that level 9 ASAP. And when you have a Tyranitar, not only is it good to soak up all of the damage there, Kyle, but also if you're stopping any counter scores, Tyranitar does true damage, right? So it's kind of like your Urshifu, right? Where you can just use it to stop any scores, even if they have the Ray Shield as well. So sometimes it proves to be a decent Pokemon there.
I'd like to see, then this is kind of where, I would really like to be able to see, the order of which things were drafted. Because I need to know when that T-Tar was drafted. Was this deliberate or was this early? Because T-Tar just seems like such a tough Pokemon to play, especially in the competitive format. When you have the drafting and it's just an easily counterable Pokemon that you can just kind of send some early scalers in there to, bully it a bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether it was probably a first pick. I don't think T-Tar is that prioritized. But, it's not a bad pick if you see, let's say you're the last pick on your team and you see, 4 or 5 members where it's not going to be able to do too much to your Tyranitar. Might as well change it up a bit. And it's all about playing Pokemons that can catch opponents by surprise, right? Especially on a tournament day as important as today's, which is your finals of the December Cup. They might be saving it up for a special treat for us to see. We hopefully get to watch one of those two teams in the losers finals very, very soon, whether it be Bruff Esports or Antic X Odium. But like we said before, you've got one chance if you're in the losers, right? If you don't win, you're off for until the next month. And both these teams, they hate losing.
I hate losing too. It's my least favorite thing about this game. I wish I could win every game, but that's why I'm behind the desk and not playing.
Just some of the casters things, we can't do maths, we can't play as well. Well, what else are we gonna add to the list, guys?
Yeah, definitely can't.
At
map
least we can
well.
yap, right? We can yap, right? That's
Oh
why
yeah,
we're hired.
I think the casters, we're the best yappers of them all. I think that's our strong suit. So we talk smack. We're good at yapping. That's where
That's
we
it.
thrive. Not necessarily at the Ray Pit, but we thrive in the yap sessions.
Yes, we do. And on that note, it's time to yap some more, Kyle, as we head into game number 3, everybody.
All right, game 3, balance and legends reappear. Gonna reappear on your screen for this game 3. Winner is going to be going on to your grand finals. Loser is going to be going down to that lower bracket where they will be playing against either Bruffy Sports or Antic. And I mean, we'll take a peek. We'll see how this ends up going. Legends reappear, gonna be on your right side. Balance once again going to be on your purple side. Oh,
yeah, and take play-by-play here, because I'm going to be able to observe and cast at the same time, as we see maybe a bit of invading coming through.
Yeah, a little bit of an invade. We have Snorlax looking to take down this blue buff along with Hoopa. A little bit of a double invade here. Meanwhile, we're going to have Mimikyu grab some stacks, but the reinforcements are here looking to try to stop the Snorlax in their tracks, able to do so before they get that blue buff.
Yeah, it's just invading something like a Dratini is so important, right? Because you don't want that Hyper Beam to come through early, and we've seen how Ethos has been so good at ripping those objectives. So definitely something to watch on the side of your LDR.
Pushing forward is this Mewtwo Y going to hold their A button against Legends Reappear, and looking to line up this top lane is Balance because they want to grab these 850 birds. Snorlax making a beeline up towards this top path. It's going to be 4-on-3. A lot of the birds cleared by the side of Balance as they press forward. However, they lose their Miraidon. They find the Fletchinder.
Yes, they do. And I think with Mimikyu getting another KO, this is definitely the ability and the opportunity to get some dunks in, right?
Looking to push forward for some dunks. Mimikyu is able to get one. Miraidon comes for reinforcements, takes out the Snorlax, sends them to a sleep. And we have Mewtwo Y Crustle still hanging out in this basement path, level 5, so they should be able to have access to their Mega Evolution when they get that gauge up.
Yeah, and we've seen how easy it is to do deal damage right when you have that A press down when you Mega Evolved as Mewtwo Y. That's probably the reason the way they picked it on the side of LDR there. And obviously, Dratini is still not able to get that Dragonite so far. Still a Dragonair, but we have the A-Press coming through already. As we have the Brave Bird to knock out Xavier, though.
Oh, big old Brave Bird from this Talonflame, able to take out the Mewtwo Y. Balance pressing forward as members of Legends reappearing back in the Pokemon Center. We're going to go press forward with this Alolan Ninetales. Aurora Veil going to keep the team upright. Another big old Brave Bird takes out the Crustle as they press on forward. Points coming in. That's a 30 dunk from Talonflame as they get another KO. Dragonair heading back to the Pokemon Center.
Just proving to us the Brave Bird buff was a good one, because as we know, once they tick onto that Brave Bird Plus, they're going to have significant damage reduction, Kyle.
Yeah, level 13 on that. We'll see what happens here once we get this Alolan Ninetales on. We've seen, this is another thing, we saw a lot of Alolan Ninetales go that Aurora Veil earlier today in North America, too.
Yes, we did, actually. And speaking of damage reduction, we have an Aurora Veil or Ninetales, like you said, with the Brave Bird buff as well. So it's all about soaking up the damage and not really getting KO'd there, isn't it?
They're getting some right now. 2 KOs go down on the side of Balance, pushing forward against this Legends Reappear team, but there's the return. We get 2 KOs from this Miraidon as all these meteors are pushing forward. They're raining down on the Thea skies. Legends Reappear looking to grab some points now. 16 going in from Mewtwo Y. We have Miraidon going back now, and Mewtwo Y popping their Unite move as the rest of Balance comes in to try to take them down.
Yeah, Balance looking to get some value now. We have the link on the Shadow Sneak, and the play with me to instantly delete the Mewtwo off the map as they look to get some scores in and maybe get a huge overdunk for them.
Yeah, big overdunk there for balance as they break that T1 pad. Hoopa, along with the rest of them, are going to try to take that Regieleki. Dragonite able to get a nice 35-point dunk in, and Regieleki making its way towards this T2 pad.
And there might be an opportunity to push here as we have the player off to go through onto Icy Melody, and the electric terrain has been set here.
Oh, here we go. Another push here from Balance, but the Electro Drift Miraidon's going to help try to send them packing. Great response here from Mimikyu as this one's coming in. There goes the Flame Sweep. Going to try to push this one in. A big old Brave Bird. Regieleki is an inch from walking in. It does. Here come the points raining down for Balance. They're looking to take this goal zone next. Another 4. Another 30 might be an inevitable. And that T2 pad is gone. Snow Globe out from the Ninetales. However, they're going to have to retreat. Legends reappear. They do respond, but they lose their pad.
Losing a pad in a Game 3 scenario is not the best news, right? We're going to have some additional dunks coming in on the bottom for Team Balance as well. And Orion level 12 hitting that first for both these teams is a fantastic news, I think, for Team Balance.
Gonna try to take the rest of this farm. Yeah, level 12 already on this Talonflame at the halfway mark. It's been really hard for Legends Reappear to really take this thing down. It's gonna get worse here before it gets better. Nice little Hoopa trick with the Phantom Force, able to get the Talonflame out of dodge.
I think just without the hyperspace hole, you still have the ability to use Hoopa to its maximum potential, right? And having something like a speedster going in, but having a safe passage out is going to be very crucial for those Brave Bird, especially with the Aero Ace, where you don't have the mobility to get out of there. But we're going to see Ethos ripping this Regirock ASAP when it spawns.
I love that tech. I might have to try to see if I can play that, because Hoopa with the Brave Bird and just teleport him back. That's actually kind of a fun little play here. Dragonite, though, thinking it's not that fun as they get dove on right from the Brave Bird once again. We have the teams pressing forward. Dragonite going down to the Pokemon Center. Hoopa's going to press B, try to take down this Regirock to get shredded down. Talonflame looking to close it out. They do. They put that Regirock in their handbag. They're pressing forward. The Snow Globe's out. This T1 pad is being threatened. Crustle trying to hold the door. Haven't been able to yet. Big ol' X-Scissor. Here come the Rings Unbound. Pokemon are flying off the map. Crustle. Fable will is going down. Dragonite next to be fallen. Mewtwo wide down. And it's all balance here in Game 3.
It is all balanced indeed, and the comp that they have brought to the table here, Kyle, is such like a death ball 5-member comp, right? They all are looking to run at you, the Mimikyu. Even the Alola Ninetales needs to get very close to you with the Dazzling Gleam and Aurora Veil set. It means it's going to be, I think, for Legends Reappear to kind of find a way to defeat them team fight-wise, but the good news is we have good secures, right, on the side of Legends Reappear, and that's exactly what I think they will anticipate to do for this Rayquaza fight.
It is Balance's game to lose here. They just need to close out 45 seconds until Rayquaza. They're going to try to do their best to continually grab some vision. Icy Melody on this Clefable, keeping the team upright with those Moonlight heals. Balance going to have to peel back. They get found by this Crustle. Here comes the Electro Drift. They take out Naomi on that Snorlax. Play rough from this Mimikyu. However, they miss their Shadow Sneak. Bem KO gets KO'd. And now we have Balance on the back of their heels. Hyper Beam connects to a big beam on Balance, but here comes Orion. They take out Crustle. That's a nice KO in return for Balance to regain balance of this Rayquaza pit.
And the action will continue very, very soon as both teams are looking to set up for this Rayquaza fight. Remember, we have Balance in the lead. It is their game to lose, like you said. And it looks like they're just going to start the rip on the Rayquaza here, Kyle.
Yeah, here we go with the rip. Flame Sweep is out from this Talonflame. Hoopa brings the team with the Rings Unbound. Ninetales is the first to fall. Clefable is going to be next. We have Talonflame very close to going down. They do. Crustle is able to take them out. I believe it's a chip from the Rubble Rouser. 2 KO for them. Dragonite gets him Hyper Beam. They connect it. It's just this Mimikyu. It's their last hope. Balance is raining down. We'll see if they're able to hold this on. They might be going down. It's a clean team wipe. Legends Reappear have reappeared so far. We're going to see them take Rayquaza and likely try to get their points in because they are still down.
They definitely are, but with those Rayquaza shields, you do have to anticipate some Hundo Burgers will go through for them. We have Miraidon getting in more scores while they have. Look at the size of that shield, Kyle, as it looks to Electro Drift, takes out Naomi there as well, picking up as many points as possible. We don't want to see any members of Balance going down to the Pokemon Center anytime soon, because all they're giving is that Eos energy, Kyle.
Oh, there's a triple KO for this Miraidon. It's 309, 335. There goes their shield. We'll see if they're able to hold it. Mimikyu gets chipped down once again. There's the play rough. Here come the meteors from the Miraidon. Last little hit's gonna put them back to the Pokemon Center. Here comes more scores. Crustle gets 66. I mean, like that Dragonite, more scores flying in. Crustle's shield is down, and Balance's tournament hopes are laying in the balance. If they stay at this score, they're going to be going down to that lower bracket. 461, 335, 20 seconds left. Legends reappeared from the graveyard.
Oh, Legends reappear, coming out of potentially nowhere, being dominated all game, Kyle. Found an opportunity, took out the Mimikyu, took out Orion on the Talonflame, and somehow, without the Dragonite ripping it, were able to do that Rayquaza. And they go into the grand finals of today's December Cup.
Incredible comeback here in game number 3. Legends reappear, found their way after being down a majority of that match. Incredible Ray fight. They found some crucial catches. They were able to really pilot that Crustle and push it forward. It was able to get a double KO and really help kind of keep their stability in that Rayquaza pit. And you got to give some props where they're due to Legends reappear. They just couldn't find, or to Balance, where they just couldn't find the way to get it done at the very end.
What a fantastic start to today's broadcast, though. A game 3. I think from both the upper and lower brackets, it did go to that distance, right, for both these teams that are fighting it out. But we do have now a bracket recap that Bruff Esports have actually taken down Antic X Odium. So they will be actually progressing to the losers finals up against your Balance. So that is the next set we're going to be spectating, ladies and gentlemen. But it is Legends reappear, reaping in the rewards, aren't they, Kyle? Going into the grand finals.
I just want to give some props where they're due. This broadcast, just with some of the challenges that we had coming from Spectate, just got to give some shout outs to our production for quick pivots. Along with my partner over here, Fu, for not only casting, but also helping along with the Spectate and just the fastest pivot in broadcast history. So big shout outs to the crew here. We are going to take it to a quick little break so we can catch our breaths, drink some water. I recommend everybody at home do the same, because we got some more Pokemon Unite after the break. So we will see you very, very soon.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for the short break. We're back in with December Cup finals for the OC region. We've just seen Titans go down beforehand. Balance going down to the losers finals in favor of LDR, and also Bruff Esports knocking out Antic X Odium. So the next set Carl and I will be casting will be Balance against Bruff Esports. Fingers crossed, we'll just be doing the casting duty here, Kyle. My hands are free. I'm free. And we're going to have a good time, ladies and gentlemen. But big shout out to yet again production for really just making one of the fastest pivots and allowing us to actually spectate some of the games. I think very, very thankful for that. But 4 teams, we're down to 3, Kyle. It is going to be Balance against Bruff Esports. We saw Balance beforehand with that team, but Bruff Esports, a team that played yesterday, and I mentioned before, it was Sulu that brought them into today's finals with that Saita secure. Do you want to quickly introduce who is on that team, at least, for the Bruff Esports?
Yeah, we got Sulu on the central area duty. We have Buzz on support. Not Buzzwall, but Buzz on support. Not support Buzzwall. I do love support Buzzwall, by the way. But different conversation. Ice is going to be in the top path. Robbie on the defender. And then Erwin as that bot attacker. So I think we saw them get to play a decent amount at the AOS Cup. And they made a pretty good run at it, just coming up a little bit short.
Yeah, and some additional notes for Bruff Esports is it has players that have played on the international stage. So Suluwu and Robbie represented Antic Esports last season at both the EUIC and also the world stage as well. So these are 2 players that are very seasoned, they're very experienced in this tournament play. And I'm sure they can bring their wisdom to the other members of their team, such as Buzz, Ice, and Erwin as well. And like we mentioned a little bit before, Kyle, this team is set to go to EUIC qualifiers as well, so flying all the way from down under to London, and they'll be joining with Antic X Odium for hoping to do well in that tournament as well. And I think it's great any time that OC gets some sort of representation across the hemispheres is what I enjoy to support, and hopefully we get to cheer them on. 2 teams so far for OC able to represent.
I'm excited to see that. I'm honestly I'm really excited to see more lands. Obviously, we had LAIC relatively recently, and we had a pretty decent turnout there, but I really expect EUIC to be an even bigger stage, more teams representing. Obviously, you have a lot of those invites from the AOS Cup just a few weeks ago, so we know those teams who are playing, but that open bracket is going to be even more exciting. I mean, there's just something about the LAN environment that's just so welcoming. It's so exciting. There's just so much hype around it. A lot of teams really getting to show off and show out. You can't blame ping. That's kind of a huge one, right? Everybody's like, "Oh, I'm on 40 ping or I'm on 50 ping." There's no excuses on LAN. It's you, the opponent, sitting right across the stage.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think that's the beauty about LAN tournaments for the OC region. We don't normally get to play as much against the other regions because of the distance, but being able to be in the same vicinity each other, maybe boot camping, you're going to be able to play against some of the very best from the other regions as well. I still remember being in Hawaii. We had a boot camp location at one of the universities, I think, and it was literally just the OC teams. I think it was Nouns were there, Nemesis were there as well, and it was so crazy because you were just sitting across from 5 people that you're going to be playing, on the world stage, and seeing them, it's just 5 other, just individuals ready to go with their Switch and mobile as well. And some of them, obviously very intimidating as a team, but at the end of the day, after all the scrims are over, everyone just hangs around, has a good conversation. So it's cool to see that the love of the game has continued, and with what I hope that next season will bring. In Anaheim as well, I'm sure it's going to be just as cool. But, I'm very excited because today we're talking about just the OC region, right? Which team will be able to really cement themselves as one of the teams to watch for next year. Because, the season started earlier this year, right? I think the AOS qualifiers is just like a nice little sneak peek, and obviously December Cup providing some championship points, but the money as well. Just to give everyone an idea, who are the talented individuals in our region and who are they to watch for the next season?
I'm excited to see who's going to come out of OC. It seems like it's kind of up in the air right now. There's a lot of teams that are. It's very competitive. It doesn't seem like one team is blowing anybody out of the water. There's not like that front runner. And I think we're going to watch it over the next few months, right? Like how this meta develops, how these players adapt to the new Pokemon that get added to the fray, how these players adapt to the balance patches, how they adapt to how other teams are playing, and kind of understanding what's working in other regions and maybe bringing that to OC. So I think the teams that adapt the fastest are going to be the ones that are able to kind of stand on top when it comes to the regional finals in May. Or is it May? Is it May or April? I always forget.
Yeah, something around that time. But speaking of standing up across and on top of opponents, we have the game ready to go between Balance and Bruff Esports. So let's send it right in here. Carl, you and me are going to be taking this losers finals. Whoever wins this set will proceed on to the grand finals.
Bruff Esports going to be on your purple side, taking a Larvitar to this basement path. Very peculiar pick, not a common one that you see today in current meta.
No, and I'm actually interested to see why there's no invade into that cup today. In response, we have Naomi going into the central area, Robbie trying to get vision for them and stop any sort of stealing or thieving coming out from this Snorlax, as Naomi just has to get out there. No more things to take and has to use the actual eject Kyle to get out.
Getting some stacks early is that Larvitar, so I imagine that they are sporting either an AS Cookie or an attack way to kind of beef them up for that late game fight, because Larvitar is kind of that notorious low scaling Pokemon. However, they do find a nice pickoff on that Snorlax.
I mean, you wanted to see how the Tyranitar came into a game, right? And we definitely have Bruff Esports showing us right there. I think it is kind of like a worse than Gibble early game, but it definitely can still pack a punch. We have the 850 birds coming up, though. 4 members of Bruff Esports here already, soaking these Altaris up, getting the big one in Sulu, and he maybe looks for more there as Yomi looks to defend this pad with Buster and Koya Abbey fan.
Looking to try to grab some sort of value, but just haven't been able to find it just yet. A lot of pushing and pulling from both squads. They do find a couple dunks on in, lowering that goal zone, but what I'm really worried about here is this Larvitar that's getting bullied by the all-rounders.
They actually are, but I guess sending 2 members from Balance down at bot path means that the top path will be a little bit easier. And we've seen a lot of that top path Alola Ninetales, right? It really has come into the competitive scene recently. So I'm keen to see which set Erwin actually pick. I think it is going to be that push A9, but we'll have confirmation in a sec.
Got the Wicked Blow from the Urshifu just a little bit wide, doesn't connect onto that Larvitar, and a lot of these 8-minute birds also going over to Bruff, so Balance kind of playing on their toes right now.
Yeah, they really are. They are now. You know, the points are very, very similar, and we do have the Trick Room Mimikyu coming out from Benpeo once again. Probably in I guess, a way to counter the slow that Owen can provide for the team. Maybe kind of dashing out of an Umbreon and also the Tyranitar as well. They don't really want to be slowed, and it's not like Shadow Sneak can really do anything into that team so far.
Hasn't been able to provide a ton of value. 720 birds, gonna try to get taken. Looking like Balance really wants to line up this top pack.
Yes, they do, and a huge combo from Erwin will be able to take a lot of those birds away, but Shadow Sneak is already, so Shadow Claw will be the moveset of choice for BemKO as he looks to do a bit of damage, but might need help to get out there. There comes the Trick Room, and now they're going to go back in, actually, onto Robbie. Gets the KO on Robbie as Yomi will be able to land a huge heavy slam straight into more Shadow Claw by BemKO. This Mimikyu is about to hit that level 9, Kyle.
Yeah, it's massive for them. They're going to have access to their Unite move. We have a lot of points going in there. That Unite move is right on top of that Scyther. Scyther getting dangerously low, and the basic attack connects. They go back to the Pokemon Center.
Yeah, Buster's auto attack just managed to land on there as well as the Phantom Force will be able to link up with Naomi there. And I think just the ability to be so aggressive but also get out of these fights is so crucial, right? You want to preserve your XP that you're providing to the enemy team.
I'm not sure how I feel about this basement path break. They were doing a great job starving this Larvitar, this Pupitar out, and that just kind of hands them over some farm. They do get this Regieleki as kind of that prize for doing so, and that basement Reggie's still standing, but I'm not sure how much value this is providing.
Yeah, they need to break this before the Regieleki walks in, right? And they actually managed to do so. So, a little bit more pressure, and what we don't expect is either having to back away. Their Tyrants are now finally online, though, so Ice anticipating to defend this pad from going in. And maybe it's worthwhile sacking it because now you have all those additional farm, right? Those additional Indeedis for Ice to take up as well. Robbie coming in, no level 8 so far. The passive has been broken, but Naomi caught in between a rock and a Tyranitar there. The Stone Age will be able to take them down, and perhaps a swing of momentum for Bruff Esports. They look to push this match.
It's exactly what they need and exactly why you play Tyranitar. You play it for that late game, so you gotta hope that you start to get it on. There goes that Unite move. There's some more flying out for Bruff.
Oh my god, I think we always underestimate the damage an execute move like Tyranitar Rampage can do. Ice looking for more there, and Yomi will go down. That's a KO streak of 3 for this Tyranitar, and suddenly they're the highest level on the team.
Yeah, I mean, Urshifu, Mimikyu still outscaling them. Urshifu and Mimikyu both are kind of away from that fight. That kind of enabled that triple KO, I think. We do have a basement push here from this Mimikyu. Should be able to take this down, no problem. Shadow Claw, a great chunking move when it comes to just shredding and ripping objectives. So this is a nice little objective for them as they kind of get ready for this next engage.
Yeah, I think so. I think capturing as many wild Pokemon as possible before the next engage is probably going to be optimal for both these teams. And you can see on the side of Bruff Esports, they've done that very well. Clean slate for them on their side of the map. And it looks like Orion might be looking for more there. Has to quickly throat chop to get out of there. We have a Regieleki as our next objective available for contest. And from the minimap, seems like Robbie might be a bit of trouble.
Might be in trouble indeed. Umbreon just kind of running for their lives in the central area. Urshifu does find them. We'll see if the Wicked Blow can connect, but that's bought so much time for Bruff Esports to move in on this Regieleki.
Yeah, it's a game of tag, but somehow Robbie's still in the playing field, still able to hopefully get out there. Finally taken down by the Urshifu, but like you said, wasted a lot of time. And now we have 2 members away from the tier 1 to 2 pad. But that's okay, because the rings are bound. We'll be able to bring them in. It's roll call time. The Cotton Crown pads will come through and heal up Sulawu. Playblue goes through, and Snorlax taking a big nap in the midst of all the battles. And when the dust is settled, it's going to be 3 members of Bruff Esports knocked out. And what a successful defending from a balance there. But Robbie getting a 24 at the bottom will at least add some value for them.
Yeah, a little consolation prize. I really don't ever like those late pushes on a T2, especially against an enemy Hoopa. That can just like bring the team up with those rings unbound. They're able to fully respond. I would have more rather see Bruff maybe look into the central area of balance, maybe steal some farm, or even just go ahead and push that T1 pad. That was still up. They could have maybe broke that, got a couple extra points in.
Yeah, that's a great point as well. We see the Mewtwo Y trying to steal some of the buffs in there, but Ice is not going to let them go without punishment. The Side Strike will provide the anti-hindrance, so I'm sure that Mewtwo Y can actually get out of that fight. 40 seconds until the Rayquaza are coming through. Sulawu still looking for that level 13. Definitely, I would have to say Balance has the lead on paper in terms of levels, but, you know, the score isn't too far behind. It's still anyone's game here.
Still anyone's game, and this is kind of why I would have liked to see them push that bottom path. This basement Regirock is free for Balance. That's going to be massive when it comes to this late game fight. That 90 seconds of defense and special defense buffs will kind of come in handy. Hoopa needs to just go down here to start that KO timer, though.
Oh.
This should get in for this Rayquaza, but Bruff may play aggressive here.
Yeah, I think that might be the opportunity for them to play aggressive, knowing that there is no Hoopa rings unbound to go through. And Yomi caught out in between an Ice and a hard place there. Has popped the Power Nap to go through. We have the Ebon Fist coming through as well. And the Infinite Cyber will immediately pop. But the Green Illusion Dive will be able to knock out the Mewtwo Y. And possibly more there as they look to slice and dice. But here comes the rings unbound. And Sulu getting shut down by the Play With Me of the Mimikyu. Means that Bruff Esports is now running out of gas very, very soon. Yomi going down to Robbie, though, as we quickly have a look at the number of players on the Rayquaza pit right now. We have Tyranitar, Umbreon for Bruff Esports, but all 5 members are now back for Balance, and no one from Bruff Esports even in the pit. And we have Orion charging up the Wicked Blow. Can they secure it? Of course they can. It is going to be that single strike and that safety net that they're after.
I just don't like T-Tar. I don't like T-Tar. I'm going to say it at least 3 more times. It really needs to be a counter deck if the enemy team doesn't have a whole lot or is playing with a ton of different shields. It's just so hard to play and do it well in the competitive format. It was just hard because Balance just got off to such an early start. There's that Mimikyu, that Urshifu got online really easily, and when something like an Urshifu is able to get online easily, you're gonna have a bad time because you saw exactly why you played. Those secures that it has in that late game fight won them the game.
I agree as well, and I think for a bit, Bruff Esports looked like it was good because the Hooper went down. But yeah, at the end of the day, the amount of burst damage that comes from something like a Infinite Cyber, right, and also the Mimikyu able to shut down Sulu after he's used his Unite move, just proves it very difficult for them to actually come back from that. Snowgoat will go through for Irwin there, but the damage might have been already done now. 603 points on the side of Balance. It's not a tipping scale you can actually come back from, I think, and as 3 members go down for Bruff Esports, it's going to be Balance taking game number 1.
Game 1, ever so important. Balance won game 1 in the first set that we watched. It didn't quite pay the dividends for them because obviously they're down here in this lower side bracket. So we'll see if they're able to continue to keep their foot on the gas, because you don't want Bruff Esports to force a game number 3. You've already been in that situation once and it didn't pay off for you. So really look for Balance to try to close the door here in this next one. But I really liked their draft strategy. I saw the Snorlax pick, and it just reminded me of what we saw a ton in North America today. We saw team after team pick that Snorlax, and I think teams are starting to realize that it's a great defender in competitive play.
I think we have seen a lot of Snorlax recently, even more than Trevenant sometimes, which is obviously quite surprising. And Yomi has been playing a lot of Snorlax for Team Balance there. Obviously, like you said, paying dividends for them because they did a fantastic job. Even though it looked like they were caught out there for that fight, I think the buddy barrier that you can provide from your Power Nap is going to be able to save something like your Mewtwo or even your Urshifu, which is your main secure Pokemon, right? But game number 1 going on to Balance. Bruff Esports was not out of it, though. They have a chance to come back into this. To my knowledge, they were also 1 game down to Antic X Odium in that previous round. So if it's any indication of what they can do, perhaps they can come back and win the next 2 games. As casters, we like to see it go the distance, don't we, Kyle?
Oh, I always do. I think it's one of the more interesting things. It's a better storyline. One thing I don't remember seeing in this fight, unfortunately, is where this Umbreon utilized their Unite move. I want to say it was away, but without a replay, it's kind of difficult to say exactly what happened there. But I don't know. I really liked Bruff pushing the pedal there at the end, because knowing that they had Hoopa down, they had an advantage, and they tried to push it. Didn't quite work out for them. What do you think went wrong in that fight?
I think they really just got separated. Sulawu was by himself into the choke point, trying to 1v2 after using its Green Illusion dive, but then, coming out of the Rings Unbound was the Mimikyu and instantly using his Play With Me to shut them down. And normally when Mimikyu jumps on someone with his Unite move, you have the Umbreon there, right? To use this Moonlight Prance to take away the shield and then immediately end that Unite move off. But I think Robbie and Sulawu was separated there, and I think Ice was still coming back from the home pad there, so just not enough. I guess just the timing wise, a bit unlucky there to try to come back in and secure that Rayquaza, and can't really do much with a lot of Ninetales that isn't running the Veil when everyone is just running at you, right? So I mean, we talked about it before. One of the disadvantages of your Avalanche and Blizzard a lot of Ninetales is once you use your moves and you're on cooldown, you're a sitting duck, Kyle, aren't you?
Yeah. Very much so. It's unless you're playing Aurora Veil, Dazzling Gleam, Alolan Ninetales without any of its abilities just kind of gets dove on. So unless you have a really good defender that was frontline, I think this kind of goes back to your point, right? Of kind of getting separated at that Ray fight. When you have that mage, you need to make sure that that tank is kind of holding it at arm's length. You need to make sure that it's being protected and that no one gets to dive it. I was looking back on some of the footage on kind of what happened too, and I think Umbreon might have not been super committed at that before Ray fight. You saw Naomi kind of pop their Unite move as Snorlax get that huge shield, that huge buddy barrier. And it wasn't until all of those shields had already dissipated that Umbreon popped their Unite move. So it kind of
Okay.
negated why Umbreon Unite moves so good. I think if you just commit to the fight, you know that you have that advantage. Just go for it. It's 210. Push your advantage. You have that time. If they would have popped that Unite move, Snorlax probably wouldn't have lived as long as they did. They lived that entire fight, so they probably go down, and that might have been a different conversation we're having.
Yeah, perhaps as well, but we never know whether Robbie was saving it for the Mimikyu Unite as well, right? And like you said, it's 210, so it's a bit of an awkward time there. If you use it for the Snorlax, are you going to be able to retain that shield for the actual fight at Ray, right? Obviously, baiting out a Unite move from Snorlax is great for them, but if you're going to trade it out with a Unite move of your own as a defender as well, that kind of negates the whole, we popped Snorlax's Unite. So, we're casters. We don't know what's going through the mind in the heat of the moment with these players, but from an objective standpoint, it's like they were separated, hard to heal up. And I don't think Buzz's Unite move on Eldegoss actually landed on Sulu either, because Sulu was all the way on the other side, right? So it's hard. It's hard when you have to be one of the only divers on your team, but you weren't able to connect with what your team was doing there. And sometimes things might look good, but don't forget, Rings Unbound still one of the most powerful Unite moves there to bring people. Even if you're traveling from one edge of the Rayquaza pit to the other, you never know when a Mimikyu can pop out, right, and just use its Unite move on you.
Right, and that's why I think really Bruff should have just went all in at that fight. Getting Hoopa there, they were going to be down until Ray spawned. And by then, like, you just full send on it. You just full attack, get a KO on a couple of the pivotal Pokemon. Saw that happen a lot, not only in NA today, but it's kind of been a trend for a lot of teams in the grassroots scene. Underdunk was this past Thursday. There's a few other big tournaments in the West where teams are really they're fighting at 210 and they're utilizing their Unite moves. And the team that's ready to pull that trigger and get that advantage, just full send on Ray. And if you have Rip, it's able to happen. Which I guess is also why we're seeing Garchomp a lot of things like that Dragonite that we've seen a few times today. I don't know. I kind of like the aggressive approach. I think it pays off a lot more than it doesn't. If it doesn't, then you can just blame Will. We put all of our eggs in that basket and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, I think talking about Garchomp as well, in the AOS qualifiers, we actually had Antic, or they were Daybreak back then. They played 12 of the 16 Garchomp games of those qualifiers, and I think we need to bring that back maybe for the December Cup. But obviously, we don't know whether Bruff Esports or Balance, they play those type of Pokemons. But like I said, we saw it in a lot of the NA qualifiers today, and if it's taking any lessons from that, perhaps it could be an ace up one of the team's sleeves, right? I'm unaware whether Legends Reappear will play that. I think their teammates are really mage centric, whereas Balance and Bruff Esports, it can come out from any one of them, because I know that they are very enthusiastic about the all-rounders, especially Bruff Esports as well. They like to play the purple background Pokemon, so whether it's a Shifu, right, and even your Tyranitar and hopefully a Garchomp coming out there could be good for them. But who knows, right? When you're got your backs against the wall, you're one game down as Bruff Esports, and if you lose the next one, you're knocked out of the competition and lose your chance at going back to the grand finals. What do you play? Do you play Comfort, or are you playing strictly meta Pokemon, Kyle? What is the advice here?
I feel like you got to go with a mixture of both, right? Like, you got to play what you're best at, but at the same time, you're not gonna pick maybe Duraludon if that's your best Pokemon. I think Duraludon is fine.
What's wrong with Duraludon?
I mean, there are better A-pressers. I actually like some Cinderace. Mewtwo-wise, is obviously a pretty good A-presser. Glaceon kind of do the same thing that Duraludon kind of does. Duraludon just has a little bit better of objective shred. I don't know.
I would like to just remind you, Kyle, Duraludon was nerfed in the recent patch, so there must be some sort of broken aspect to it, wasn't it? But speaking of Cinderace and Glaceon, Sulu actually plays a lot of that Pokemon. He was kind of known for his Cinderace back in Season 1 of the OC region, so whether he brings it back today when his back is against the wall, we'll see, and we'll I guess soon to find out, but at the moment, I do know that he's been liking kind of like the dive speedster kind of comp for his central area pick, but who knows? like you said, you got to have a mix of comfort and also meta, right? And Cinderace could work as a really good rip and also secure. Obviously, it's not the Garchomp rip, but if you can protect the President, Sulu will be able to pop off on that Pokemon.
I think Cinderace and a lot of those like ranged A-pressers kind of thrive when there's a lot of unstoppable. I mean, you saw Dark Bear. You saw Mimikyu. I think there was a play rough game in there at one point.
Yeah.
It's a lot of unstoppable. So that's kind of like a really good place for these A-pressers to go. I mean, you could even go like something like a Glaceon that could kind of lock on that target. I don't know. I think that's kind of a strategy that I've seen work out pretty decently when teams have a lot of unstoppable moves. We can see it. I think of those 8-pressers, I actually think Cinderace is a little bit underrepresented. It still has like you said, a great secure tool with its Unite move. It can shred objectives by itself, so kind of do a little bit of that. I think Feint is really good on it. You can kind of dodge a lot of abilities, so like you can use that Feint to dodge that Urshifu Wicked Blow if you see it charging up. I mean, it does have a lot going for it.
I think the only issue with Cinderace is that it just takes so long to come online, right? Like, you're literally useless, even at level 5, level 6, right? You're really not hitting the mark at all until you become that fully fledged Cinderace. But we will have the game number 2 ready for you guys to go. Bruff Esports against Balance there. Balance taking that number 1. Let's go into this game and see what Balance has brought out there to see whether they can end it on 2-0 or Bruff has something to speak.
I am ready for game number 2. Bruff Esports taking the Zacian this time in the area. I actually really like Zacian right now. He's one of the best all-rounders.
Yeah, it really is. Buster rocking that Mewtwo with the XP share, though, and the Gibble. So, our prayers having answered here, Kyle. We have a Garchomp going to be playing in this game.
Garchomp. We talked about these A-pressers. This is the first time that we've seen it once again from Balance. So, I'm really liking it. I think it's really strong, but we have a little bit of a push here early on.
And we have the Alolan Ninetales coming out from Irwin yet again. Seems to be the Pokemon of choice for them. But Zacian, that's new for Sulawu, as it will be rocking that Sword Doggo going into this 9-minute mark. And like you said, Miraidon, Snorlax, a very good duo in that bottom part.
I wonder what these bands were. I think we saw Blissey and a Leafeon previously, so I wonder if those stayed up there in that band section. Because we see the Miraidon and the Zacian getting let loose here.
Yeah, 4v4 there, and the birds actually just disappear as quickly as they have appeared there. And both teams are just separating, going back to the central area ASAP. Gibble looking for that level 5. And talking about bans, Carl, I think Mimikyu probably would have been one of the bans, because MKO is not playing it right now.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. So maybe Blissey, maybe Mimikyu, and maybe that Leafeon once again. Maybe with the last one, probably Psyduck, I would imagine. No team really wants to play Psyduck. We do have this Umbreon looking for a little bit of a shopping spree, but they do find the resistance of 3 members of Balance.
I think they are very aware of what Robbie can do now in the enemy central area. So everyone's just protecting the MKO from any thieves in that region. We have the Mega Evolution coming out from Buster though, but what they're going to reaction at this, we're not too sure as the birds will be coming out. And I think this is probably the attention and the prize that both teams are looking for. Medical will go through there. Heavy Slam to stop some of the engagers to come through, but Sulu could be able to knock out this Snorlax if they're able to latch on. They do, and another KO potentially in sight of them, but the Charge Beam is going to be able to fend off and poke out a lot of HP of Bruff Esports.
I love this pivot from Bruff. I love this play for Sulu to get onto this Metal Claw. It has great chase down potential. Also, the slowing effect on the Metal Claw. So I like this pivot. 720 birds, though. Looks like Bruff Esports really paying attention to this top lane.
Yes, they are, and they know this is an important game for them, right? So looking for these experience points as well. The Swablu's going on their side, and so will the Altaria. So Sulu nearly level 9, having access to that Sovereign Sword very, very soon. As we see BemKO also getting their second move there. Most likely the Dragon Rush, Dragon Claw combo. I wonder if people are going to be prioritizing the bottom path or the top path here. It seems like more members are going to be lurking the top path, and without a doubt, they're going to just start this Regieleki card.
not only just started, they're going to go ahead and finish it pretty quickly, too. Going to press on forward towards this T1. This pad is in danger if the rest of Balance doesn't show up, but looks like they have.
And they have indeed, but Suluwu still wants a bit more there with a KO there to bait out the Fairy Frolic from Orion, but that actually is going to enable the Regieleki to go through there. Suluwu not able to get value out of that from scoring, but the damage probably has been done. 52 to 11, as we have more of the cavalry from Balance. Pushing up in the top part there, maybe trying to counter and tip the scales in their favor. Erwin in a bit of trouble, getting knocked out from Miraidon, but Sulu is yet again to answer for this and defend. A huge lunge onto the Miraidon will knock them out, but Naomi trying to get some sort of score in, not going to be able to survive that either, and that's going to be 3 members of Balance. Going to say hi to Nestor.
Yeah, triple KO. Suluwu's looking fantastic on this Pokemon. I love this pivot for them. This is a great start that they've had. 148-14. They got both objectives out of that as well. They got that Regieleki, they got the Registeel buff, so that's why you're seeing so much extra damage being completed from Baruffa. They have that 90 seconds of special and regular attack.
Yeah, I just realized as well, Ice is on the Espeon, so there is no all-round apart from Zacian there for their team. They're kind of playing double backline there, aren't they? But the power of Espeon is the amount of burst damage you can do from a single store power into your Psybeam combo. Also offering some sort of secure as well. We're going to see some sneaky dunks in with the Psychic Select to stop Orion from pushing through. And that's going to be a nice break for them. So 215. I mean, Rough Esports have really come into the game flying.
They're flying. And they're going so fast. They're putting so much pressure on Balance. Balance just has looked, for lack of a better term, off balance this match. They're not able to play the game that they want to. Rough Esports has just kind of imposed their will at every team fight, and they're getting another objective. The Regieleki will walk towards that T2. We need Balance to start making some plays. Otherwise, they're going to be in for a long match.
Yeah, the game is definitely not in their favor right now. Buster trying to stall it out with the Power Knight coming out from Snorlax, but that does a lot of damage. But the Coppercard Crack will be able to keep people sustained in the fight there. Sulu on half HP will get died by the Garchomp, though. So out of nowhere, the Livid Outrage of Bam KO, able to shut the entire team down. Orion getting a KO streak of 3 as well. And, you know, that momentum we talked about that Rough Esports has been building has just been immediately collapsed.
They got their hands caught in the cookie jar there. I said it in the first game, I really don't like that push, especially with the jump pad. You had a basement objective. They could have just elected to pivot to that. Instead, you have all of the time in the world for Balance to get there, and they just get team wiped. Luckily, they still are able to take this Regi Ice off the map, but they did hand over a ton of catch-up XP for Balance, and that's exactly what Balance needed in that moment.
Yeah, looking on paper there, 3 level 12s for Balance now, out of literally nowhere.
Yeah.
But the points are still in the favor of Rough Esports, though, so they have that in their favor. But seeing the mini-map there, we do have a potential score of 40, pushing up in the top path, as Ice is trying to get vision for their team there, with the Eldegoss and Robbie on the Umbreon, but they're going to get immediately KO'd from the charge beam, and Robbie's forced to quickly get out. We have a Liver Outrage 1v2 against Suluwu. Suluwu will fall down there, but luckily, members of Rough Esports are going to be able to try to defend this pad, and a huge Dragon Core combo will actually knock out Buzz as well. Robbie somehow managed to get out of there. Or I can see these engages going on the side of Balance step by step, and this is not good news for Rough Esports.
This is not what you want if you're Bruff. You have a level 13 Garchomp, and you have a level 13 Miraidon already now. Your Bruff was off to this super hot and quick start. Balance has kind of flipped the table on them, and they have another Regieleki push, but I think Balance is going to be okay with just maybe defending this. They do have that Garchomp that could just respond. Instead, they're just going to hand it over, and they're going to just get the rest of their farm on their side of the map. But this is going to enable Bruff to maybe set up in this Rayquaza pit a little bit early.
Yeah, and Orion just going to that bottom pad there, just to, you know, maybe get that level 13 with those two Indeedis. 15 seconds to go. We have a nice yawn on Robbie so far, and maybe an early engage. Sulu looking for something here, and Yomi has to quickly jump over the bridge. Half HP, probably has to back here as well.
Gonna see some Pokemon get set up in the Rayquaza pit. We have Bruff immediately going on. Rayquaza already started.
And the Meteor Sword will go through immediately. Sovereign Sword onto the Rayquaza. It's going to be a little bit too early, though. Everyone pops up from the Rayquaza. Who's going to secure it? It's on 1 HP. And it's actually going to be balanced because all members of Bruff Esports are out of there already, Kyle.
Bruff Esports went for the flip, and it did not pay off for them. You had a lot of ability from Balance to just kind of sustain. You saw Snorlax drop that power nap, and then just the onslaught of damage from this Sylveon. Getting a triple KO, I believe they popped their Fairy Frolic, giving a ton of healing once they crashed down and did some damage to the opposing side, and this might be all she wrote. I mean, Snorlax still has a potential to get another 100, but there's still time on the clock. There's still a minute. Bruff is down by a little bit less than 200, so it's not over yet.
It's very tough, though, because you're going up against 3 level 15s. I mean, having a level 15 Sylveon that's playing Draining Kiss and Mystical Fire is not an easy Pokemon to take down, especially if you don't have any Unite moves on your side, right? Electric Terrain will be set then, and Ice gets sent back immediately, and we're already missing a number for Bruff Esports looking to try to push this pad. Not everyone has 50 score either. Orion dancing around this pad now. They know they can give this pad because they're so ahead of this, but a Snow Globe will be the last attempt for Bruff Esports. But yet again, Balance coming out on top.
That Fairy Frolic was demonic from that Sylveon player. I mean, Orion, that was massive. I think that wiped out 3 members, especially because they had that shield still. So all that damage just raining on Balance. They're taking this one 2-0.
Yes, they are. And they're going to earn the ticket back in the Grand Finals for a rematch against Legends Reappear. So, yet again, is it Legends Reappear against a Balance Reappear? How many reappearances will we be able to see today? But we'll soon find out there as we look at the stats for this game. I mean, for a moment there, it seemed like Bruff Esports had the control, had their hands on the steering wheel here, Kyle, but it all started going in the side of Balance when they got those crucial KOs, especially Bem KO with the Livid Outrage to take out 3 members for that tier 2 defense. And hopefully we get a look at the stats here. I'm keen to see how the damage was spread over both of these teams.
I mean, just magical comeback here from Balance, and you said it best, right? That it all started with that ill-advised push from Bruff. They just didn't get the value out of it, and Balance responded perfectly, right? I think if Balance was there maybe a second or 2 later, I think maybe Bruff is able to get it, but unfortunately for them, they flip the cards there, they get a couple KOs, and that's just like sometimes you get a little overzealous and you give up some XP. It just kind of goes to show how important and how detrimental that comeback XP can be, right? Like, it seemed like it was all Bruff at that stage.
Yeah, it really was, but just looking at the drafts here and the bans, we have the Urshifu ban coming out from Bruff Esports, and on the side of Balance here, a Blissey and a Psyduck. So I think the other thing as well is Sulu being the only Pokemon that can actually access the back line. They have to use all the resources to try to get Miraidon played by Challenge. And just the damage taken by a Challenge, only 14,000 just meant that it probably wasn't successful, right? And when you leave a ranged attacker like Miraidon able to do whatever they want, a lot of the times that's going to be the damage portion of your team. And they weren't able to overcome that. And, Balance getting their ticket back in the Grand Finals definitely deserved for that. And I'm keen to see what this next set brings.
This next set's going to be really fantastic, and I'm excited to see what we're going to have here. Balance, they're making the comeback. I mean, we talked about them in the pre-show. I think both Lobo and I kind of expected them to be in this position, and here they are sitting in the Grand Finals now. However, they are going to be needing to make a little bit of a comeback, but they did show that they could beat Legends Reappear. They're going to have to beat them a few times, right? They're going to have to beat them 4 more times if they want to be champions this month.
They definitely do. I was just going to say the Grand Finals will have a bracket reset, ladies and gentlemen. So if it is anything like last Cup, where we saw the full distance of the 6 games, we might be in for a treat. But before we get onto that set, as we get the preparations prepared on the production side of things, we're going to throw it to a quick break, maybe run some ads as well. Please go get your water. This might be the last chance for you to grab some snacks because your eyes are going to be peeled on the screen for what's to come. Legends reappear from the upper bracket, going up against Balance in a rematch. You don't want to miss it. We'll be back soon. Welcome back, everyone. The time has come now, hasn't it, Kyle? It is the grand final of the December Cup for the OC region. We started with 7 teams yesterday. We're down to 2, and it's gonna be your Legends reappear against your Balance as well. And should we take one team each to tell everyone about the storylines for those people that maybe just tuning in now into the grand finals? Kyle, which team do you want to take? Let us know what that team has done to get to where they are today.
Yeah, I want to talk about Balance because they were my team to beat. Unfortunately, we saw
Yeah.
them here early on win game number 1 against this very team. Legends reappear. Everything looked good. Even game 2 is pretty close, but Legends reappear came out on top. They lost a heartbreaker in game number 3. It seemed like it was all but in the bag, but Legends reappear. They came from the grave and they took Rayquaza and broke the hearts of Balance. But Balance, they maintained composure. They won, and they are back for the grand finals on the loser side.
Oh, they're very much back, but they have a titan of a team to go up against, right? Obviously, we are needing them to send it to a bracket reset if they want to win today's tournament. But Legends reappear. They came 5th in the AOS Cup qualifier, but with a change of teammates. Chichi joining the comp, as well as Manny making their return. They seem to be very, very strong. And if I'm correct, they've only dropped one. Just checking yesterday's results here, ladies and gentlemen, to see whether they actually dropped any games prior today. They dropped 1 to Balance beforehand, and yes, they dropped 1 to Bruff Esports. So only 2 games dropped in the sets they played. So they definitely have been very dominant, and we know how much Ethos has been playing that Dragonite, and that was the question I was going to pose because for Balance, they went up against the Dragonite, and it was the Dragonite that actually was able to win them that game, right? Is that worth a ban now going into the grand finals, especially knowing, when things get tough and Rayquaza is a thing, most teams just pivot to taking down the Rayquaza, right?
I mean, I don't think it's worth a ban. I still think there are more things that are worth a ban opposed to the Dragon. I think Dragonite is a strong Pokemon, but if you ban Dragonite, they're just going to take something that would go in that slot, whether it's Mimikyu has kind of stayed in that ban phase for a lot of the matches. We've seen things like Leafeon get banned. I think Dragonite's good, but I don't think it's like the thing that you need to like just completely wipe off the map. You can
completely wipe out,
yeah. I don't know if it's worth a ban.
Because the scary thing is, if you ban out Dragonite, maybe the other yellow Pokemon of Fear and of Destruction comes in, which is the Psyduck, right? That's what we're all on the same page. a supporter so feared by all the teams in this region that it's banned out literally every single game. But as the game will be set up very soon, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know, maybe we can get a poll in chat to see which team actually takes it out. And for those that enjoy the long distance when it comes to grand finals, obviously we're hoping for that 6 games. Maybe Kyle, since it's so late for you, probably hoping for a little bit of a faster finish, but nevertheless, we want 6 games, don't we?
I mean, I'm still rooting for Balance because that was my pick at the beginning of the day, so I don't want to take it back just because it's getting late.
4 games minimum required for Balance to take it into their side. And whether it's coming home to Balance or coming home to Legends reappear, this is going to be a new champion at least for December Cup. Because Antic Exodium actually won the AOS qualifiers there. So who will be crowned the new champion and take home a whopping bit of money? To my knowledge, it's like 300 USD, I think, per player. It's at 1.5k for the entire team. So 300 USD for a weekend of Pokemon Unite. You can buy a lot with that, I think.
I'd take that. I'd take like $10 in a blow pop or something. Maybe a ring pop. I'm not sure which one's better. I don't know. I think ring pops are better.
Is ring pop the is it the lollipop on top of the ring?
Yeah.
Just so that we're on the same page.
Like the blow pop's like the one with the chocolate in the middle, I think. Or wait, no, the blow pop has the gum. Then there's the
we might not have it here in OC.
I don't know. There's candy. I don't eat a lot. I like Reese's. That's my favorite candy.
Oh, I actually have a whole value pack of Reese's in my cupboard. So So we're definitely share the same. I think I'm more of a peanut butter chocolate person as well.
Oh, peanut butter.
Maybe. You know, last stream we're talking about cookies. This stream is all about that peanut butter, I think. So hopefully we progress a different dessert every single cup that we get
Okay,
through,
all right.
but
We'll have to loop Lobo and Alex in for next one.
we do.
Maybe you talk about cake. Let's talk about cake next time.
Okay, well, we'll let them know. And you know that one of the reasons I heard from Lobo actually not able to do the rest of the cast is because he got hungry. He had to go for his peanut butter Reese's cups. So he's left the grand finals to us. But as we talk about the grand finals, the game's going to be ready, ladies and gentlemen. We have Balance against Legends Reappear. Kyle, let's see who take this game number one. And for Legends Reappear, they're sitting in the comfortable seat, aren't they?
They are sitting in that comfort seat, and Balance going to be on your purple side. Legends Reappear on your orange side. Let's look at these comps. We do have that Gibble coming out for Legends Reappear, so that's making its way back to the Thea Sky.
Yeah, Gibble against a double Eevees from Legends Reappear there. And I'm actually surprised that no one went to invade this Kafu on the side of Balance. So that Kafu is going to get a Shifu pretty easily. Looking at the bot part though, Naomi thinking whether they can steal some citrus berries, use the eject to get out of the way. So they're going to be returning safely. And Xavier on the Sobble already. Trying to secure some of these neutral farms.
Gonna try to secure some of these Indeedis from the side of Legends Reappear, but Leafeon does what a Leafeon does, makes its way top a little bit early from that early clear.
Yeah, it definitely does. We have some dunks coming in from Legends Reappear already, and it looks like Icy will probably get that evolution to Eldegoss there. Fantastic work as we head probably closer to these 850 birds. We see a Shifu coming out for the ambush as well. And we have a huge Dragon Rush, to go through and take up most of that. But it's actually Ben KO that steals the Altaria and actually evolves to that Greedent.
Oh, Greedent online is pretty good right now. That's exactly what you need if you're balanced. But Legends Reappear, still getting a ton of value in this top path.
Definitely. We have Leafeon level 5 already. Just dancing around, obviously for Leafeon, their target and primary goal is to get that Emerald 2-step up and running. But for once, we have Leaf Tornado. Icy Melody, is it a move choice error or is it a strategy? Maybe some sort of secret technique for Legends Reappear to play in this game number one.
That's a very interesting pick. You just don't see that all that often. From Eldegoss, usually we see the other build, so that's actually a very interesting play here. I'm excited to see how it plays out. Once it gets level 11, it does have an ability where it's going to prevent those boosted or those basic attacks for whatever it targets, but usually you see that played into some of those A pressers, but there's not really a whole lot of them on the side of Balance.
No, it's actually going to be a Legends Reappear that have the A presses, but as I say this, we have Legends Reappear going down to the green, and they can streak of 2 for Bamkeo, and they're looking for more, running down Icy Melody, and maybe that's why Leaf Tornado was there, to get people out of the way from this pesky squirrel. We have members now merging up into the top pad here. Manny running in with the Umbreon, managed to get a KO on the Hooper here though, and it looks like Snorlax will also be taken out, so still we have experience going on the side of Legends Reappear nonetheless.
Go. Another little play here from this Leafeon. It's getting online. Gonna have access to its Unite move very shortly. It gets it at level 8, opposed to a lot of Pokemon that get it at level 9. Kind of similar with all of these Eevees.
Absolutely, 17 going in for them, and I guess Chi-Chi's so close to the Emerald 2-step, they can smell it already, but an Inteleon with a Spy Vision in its arsenal might mean there is definitely juice on the board for them to push this pad. 19 will be able to break that bottom pad there, and it seems like the basement Reggie will be quite uncontested, Kyle, because the Sheaf is going back to farm.
Going back to farm very quickly, and it's going to help them get online and get their level 9, which you really want as that Urshifu. That Unite move is very powerful to target one specific opponent. But a nice little objective trade here. Legends Reappear able to get that Regice.
Yes, they do, and they look for another objective to put in their pocket as well. The 2-step will be good enough, not only securing the KO on the Hooper, but also taking that Regieleki for themselves. Greedent going down with that Live and Outrage coming out for Ethos here. But he's going to get slapped by Naomi by a massive scoop. will be able to do some damage there. He'll be trying the best with Heavy Slam, but will get eviscerated, unfortunately. Another scoop with Manny will be able to push this Regieleki in. And, I mean, Legends reappear coming in so aggressively and breaking both of these pads before the 5-minute mark.
Both pads down is really strong. It's exactly what you really want if your Legends reappear right now, because that late game Leafeon tends to fall off a little bit. So if you're able to kind of get and push that advantage right now, it's pretty positive for them. So we'll see how this Garchomp scales into the late game, already level 11, and it's looking pretty good, all things considered.
Definitely is. I think having the Garchomp getting the levels ASAP, and on paper they do have that advantage, don't they? As we pan across the map just to see what these teams would like to do for their next move. No objectives, not a lot of wild Pokemons either, so both these teams have been very efficient with their pathing and the capturing. But we seem to have a Garchomp maybe stuck in a sticky situation up top.
Oh, might be. Greedent also continually grabbing vision. I really do like Greedent. I think teams have kind of shifted away from it, even though it's received some buffs. But I think Greedent's kind of like that harasser-style Pokemon that does a really good job grabbing vision for your team. Kind of like a Sableye, but we do have a little bit of a skirmish here, or Shifu going down.
Yeah, Shifu going down means there's not going to be any Pokemon to secure this base but Reggie, and with Ethos just waiting for this to spawn, it's going to be a Reggie Rocker going into the handbags of Legends Reappear. I'm actually quite surprised that there's not any contest from Balance at all. Seems like they're just recalibrating and thinking, what is the best foot forward, right? Considering they're now behind in points, they're behind in levels. How are we going to turn this around for our first game of the Grand Finals?
I mean, you're going to have to find a pick. You're going to have to maybe catch this Garchomp off-laning, and that's going to really set the tone. Similar to how Bruff Esport, or Balance was able to catch Bruff Esports last game. If they're able to find that moment to kind of turn the tides of the momentum, it could really go a long way. We'll see how they're able to kind of react here as Legends reappearing once again.
Yeah, they're definitely reappearing. Seems like to be a game of cat and mouse sometimes with the Meteor Storm, trying to find its angle on the Leafeon. Garchomp doing what Garchomp does best, and Ethos able to rip that Regieleki. Yet again, all these engagements, it seems like Legends Reappear are their first, they're uncontested, and they're able to do whatever they want on the map, whereas Balance is more of that reactive gameplay so far, and I think they need to fix that if they want to win this game.
There goes the scoop from the Garchomp. That's going to force the Unite move out from this Greedent. So, pretty nice little play, but Garchomp going to have to be monitored by this double supporter. I guess not. You know, Umbreon's a little bit more of a defender, but kind of playing that supportive moveset with that Wish.
Yeah, a bit of a late Unite for this Greedent as well. I think around the 310 mark, it used its belly flop. So back again, we need to farm up for this Squirrel, right? Not just the Orange Berries, but maybe some Pokemons on the map. But speaking of, Legends Reappear just everywhere, seemingly all at once, taking any sort of neutral farm and trying to starve out the enemy so far.
Yeah, 30 seconds till Ray, and haven't really talked about it too much outside of that first little bit, but I actually am kind of seeing the value of this Eldegoss. You have the healing from that Umbreon Wish, so that's the move that you're losing when you're not having that Pollen Puff. Instead, you're getting this mobility, and you're seeing this Eldegoss kind of push this Garchomp along. Garchomp, one of the things about Garchomp is it's just so tough to play because teams just sometimes walk away from it. But when you have that Eldegoss, you have sticking power with that Garchomp.
So we have sticking power. We have 4 members of Balance sticking together in the top half there, whereas we have a sneaky little BEMKO flanking around the bot side, maybe trying to get a score in. Now, we can't see the score here either, but we have the Ebon Fist coming out and immediately deleting Chi-Chi off, so Orion getting a huge pick for Balance here, and here comes the Power Nap to start out 4 members. The Konoka Crash will go through immediately, saves Xavi from any of the fight there, but BEMKO is not finished. He's running around belching, trying to take down this Inteleon. Yes, they do, with a huge heavy slammer. That goes back into the Pokemon Center as well. A 3v4 scenario. 4 now coming back onto the Rayquaza pit. We have Ethos now trying to regain some sort of HP. Doesn't connect with the scoop and actually gets knocked out by the belch. So somehow Bem is doing so much damage on the Squirrel.
Really strong move. There goes the Emerald 2-step. That's going to help take out some Pokemon, but Inteleon falls in the fray. Eldegoss going to have to peel back. This fight rages on.
Yes, it does. And with the Miraidon getting taken out, all of the ranged attackers from Balance is now knocked out. So we know that Legends Reappear are now ahead in points, right? It's up to them to see whether they can defend these pads, because so far there's no more rip potential on the side of Balance. They have to wait for this Urshifu to come back in with the Miraidon. BMKO spotted now by Chi-Chi. Will have to 1v1 them up top. Ethos just enraging the Rayquaza, baiting Balance in. We have the Unite move from the Inteleon to see and visualize the secure on the Rayquaza. And yes, they do. They get it when no one is noticing. And Legends Reappear looking to get some polydumps in and perhaps take the first game of our Grand Finals.
Where was Balance in that? They got that Rayquaza for free, did Legends Reappear. Garchomp just went full send. You had Inteleon just doing what they do best and make sure that that secure was on target. And mission accomplished. Legends Reappear taking game number 1 off the hands of that Garchomp and squad.
That's a great point, Carl, because the Urshifu was back, but I have no idea what they were doing. They were definitely not in the Rayquaza pit. And I was just going to say, maybe taking down the Rayquaza was a bit risky with something like a single strike Urshifu available. But the fact that Balance was everywhere but where the Rayquaza was, I mean, the comms have to be just, okay, let's just rip the Rayquaza. Use your Unite move, mate. And 592 to 399, a comfortable hold. And, I mean, they're one game away from winning this entire thing, Kyle.
Man, that pick on that Leafeon was so good. I really thought that Balance might have just turned to Rayquaza, and honestly, I feel like that should have been the play. You have the Urshifu Wicked Blow, and you have the Greedent that could have just continually harassed that Inteleon to make sure that they couldn't get that snipe shot off. I wonder why Balance didn't elect to just go ahead and full send on that. It could have really turned it. They had just an amazing play. Legends Reappear, though, they just held strong. They pressed their A button with that, or that B button with that Garchomp right when they needed to. And yeah, very peculiar Ray fight.
I'm glad they listened to us, Carl. That's all I'm saying. Maybe they heard us saying, bring back the Garchomp.
Yes.
I'm delusional. But, you know, if it works, it works. And they definitely were able to take that game number 1. I think the Greedent for a second as well. I think Ben did a fantastic job running down the Inteleon. But it was just, I mean, Legends Reappear set themselves up in such a great position, right, going into that Rayquaza fight. They knew they were, you know, ahead in points. They've broken more pads than Balance did. And so the pressure was constantly on Balance to think about, oh, do I want to take this Rayquaza now? Is this the perfect time? Because there was not a team wipe, right, at all times in that Rayquaza fight. It was all about, yep, you've lost 2 people. Yep, you've lost 3. But there's always that sinking feeling that, oh no, this is the Grand Finals. What if we rip the Ray and then they secure it? But then sometimes you have to take the risks, don't you? And in the end, you know, we didn't see Balance at all. They were trying to defend. I'm not too sure where they were. At the end of the day, if you're not careful and you leave an Inteleon and a Garchomp close to Rayquaza, they're going to press the B button, like you said, and in a blink of an eye, Rayquaza's going to be gone.
That's why we play Garchomp, right? I mean, we talked about it in the pre-show. I think you and I had talked about it on my channel when we were casting NA. Like, Garchomp's just like that Pokemon that can just full send any objective. You just throw it at an objective and it could just shred it if you're not paying attention. And Balance really just got caught off guard there, I think. I'll make the pun one more time. They were caught off balance.
We're going to try to put as many as possible. And hopefully Balance, right, tips the scales in their favor for this next game. And I think maybe now, you know, I don't know whether we actually saw the bans there, whether Ethos' Dragonite was banned, because I am surprised they did pick Dragonite, Garchomp over Dragonite if it was available. Maybe we can get some confirmation.
Yeah, I'm looking back. I just went back on it, and it looks like Psyduck and Blissey were banned from Balance. And then Legends Reappear, they went ahead and banned Mimikyu and Mewtwo. Why?
Oh, so Dragonite was available, but they just didn't pick it. They went for the Garchomp.
Yeah, and I think Garchomp's really good, especially if you have an Inteleon. You don't necessarily need that extra bit of secure from Hyper Beam, because that Inteleon really should be that tool that does a lot of your securing. So you could really take Garchomp to shred, and then that extra tool of CC, right? Like, you can heal off of Rayquaza right when it's ready to get secured, and then use the Dragon combo to kind of make sure that the opposing side is not able to get their secures if they're in range of that Garchomp. So I like that pairing. I think it's a really good tool, and every time we've seen like Inteleon and then like a Ripper, we'll call like those all rounders that can just shred. We'll call them Rippers for now. I think it's just a good combo.
And, you know, if all things go out the window, Kyle, and the balance somehow found themselves in the Rayquaza pit, we have level 11 Leaf Tornado to make sure that all the autos miss, right?
Yeah.
I still can't believe we had a game that was won by Eldegoss not playing the conventional Pollen Puff set. Big shout out to IC, whether it was a mistake, whether it was a real thing. It definitely cooked. And fantastic work from IC. They're showing us, you know, you can be the Elder God sometimes. You don't always have to go with a Pollen Puff, right?
You know, I liked Eldegoss Leaf Tornado in kind of those metas where Mewtwo Y saw heavy play, or and even like just kind of now, right? With like the Blissey Helping Hand kind of re-entering the meta, seeing Eldegoss on that Leaf Tornado can kind of work once you hit level 11. You obviously need to hit that 11 for that plus ability, but I think it's pretty good. But I think the big reason why they played it and why it worked so well was the sticking power on that Garchomp. Like Garchomp, like I said it before, Garchomp, the best way to fight a Garchomp is to walk away. It's always been kind of the case. If it's wearing a red buff, it's kind of a hard task. But best to just walk away. But when you have an Eldegoss that can just throw that Leaf Tornado and Garchomp is just running at the speed of light, that is terrifying because it'll just pick you up, scoop you up, and by the time you know it, you're getting ripped.
That's it. Yeah, I think that's a great point as well. And hopefully they bring it back in this game number 2, right? And for Legends Reappear, now they're even more comfortable in this position. They're one game away from winning, and now Balance has to win not only this next game, they have to win the tiebreak for this set number 1, send it to a bracket reset, and make sure that they come on top on there as well. But if there's a team that can come out on top from the pressure that LDR is bringing, it is going to be that Balance. We've seen them take a game of Legends Reappear beforehand. Can they do it again? I mean, it's all up to what the team wants to draft, right? And whether there's going to be a switch of the sides. No, we're talking about how we don't get to see the prioritization in the draft screen, but I think that is one of the most important aspects of competitive Unite, right? Being able to choose a Pokemon first, vice versa, being able to choose 2 Pokemons to counter the first Pokemon that's picked by the opposing team, I think is so important. And we can only speculate what these teams have been picking, what they've been banning, but at the end of the day, these teams know that's kind of the crucial set. Because a lot of the times, the games could be won just on paper, right? When you have a good drafting that you're bringing up to the table. So let's see how this game number 2 goes, though.
See, I'm really excited to see Balance come back in this one. They're gonna need to, right? Like, coming. From
I know you're cheering them on, Kyle. So let's hope they do you proud there by taking game number 2.
I'm rooting for him, man. I really am. I think that they've played really well. They've kind of showed a lot of heart, especially against a really tough matchup last round. I thought Bruff got off to some crazy good starts, especially in game number 2, and they just kind of stuck to their guns. They played it strong. They played for the Rayquaza, and they came out ahead. And I think they could do it again. I think they played this team of Legends Reappear very tough in the first set that we watched tonight. And I think that they're just they just need to find that it factor. What's the thing that you can do to kind of stop that Dragonite, that Garchomp that was kind of running through them? Ethos has just been a madman tonight.
Yeah, Ethos was known for his range attackers back in the day, but he's definitely proving his worth with these all-rounders as well. We're going to head into game number 2 here, Kyle. And we have a BEMKO rocking that Kubfu in the top path.
Kubfu in the top path. Not one of the Pokemon you often see it going into path just because Kubfu is notoriously a weak path Pokemon. But we have a little bit of an invade here from Naomi.
Yes, we do. Naomi trying to cause trouble there. And just absorbing and soaking the draft coming from Legends Reappear. How in the world did they get away with Dragonite, Miraidon, and a Mimikyu, Kyle? It's something I'll never understand, but what we can see here is Naomi going up in flames and probably going to be sent to the home pad of their side there, going down to Manny there.
I love that. I think it's so smart when a player goes and does that, knowing, okay, I'm gonna get KO'd regardless. Let me just waste my opponent's time, make them chase me back to their base. They can't get to these paths fast enough.
That's it. That's exactly, I think, what Naomi's intention was. We have the birds coming up very soon. Naomi will be there once again. I mean, 4 members against 3 here. You will think that Balance probably has the edge over there. But as we say, the Snorlax will go down immediately. And somehow a Dragonair doing so much damage with the stun as well. We have it. Urshifu finally coming out, though. The trick will be able to help it out. But the eject is not going to be good enough for Ethos to get out of the way. Yes, it is. Scratch that. Ethos living on a dream. And a prayer gets out scot-free from that.
That was criminal. 1 HP in a dream. Gets back to their central area, but Naomi knows that they're low and looks to go try to bully them a little bit. Gets the tackle on. That's going to push them back to the flux zone, but a little bit of a response here from Legends Reappear. Still get the KO on Naomi.
Oh, fantastic work. And the fact that Ethos is now level 7 and still very healthy from that Citrus Berry is criminal. BMKO trying to get some value, getting a 20 in on top. But Mimikyu is there to answer for that. The birds will be coming out there, and a Charge Beam will be able to zone out Koya Abby Fan 1. Naomi back yet again with the heavy slams. But I think for the better part of the first 2 minutes, it seems like Legends Reappear have had answer for every question that Balance has posed.
Yeah, and you have that Urshifu, though. It's finally online, so maybe this is the time for Balance to start getting and working their way back into this match. I think Naomi's done a really fantastic job of kind of slowing down Legends Reappear, but just really hasn't yielded the value that they would. They weren't able to steal any buffs. They weren't able to steal any farm. Weren't able to find a KO. So you have this Dragonite now, and it is online.
It definitely is level 8 with this Hyper Beam. Dragon dancing its way into that pad, looking for a pick on Buster there. Buster has to quickly take the Citrus Berry, which means Naomi will go down. We have the Shadow Claw coming through. Chi-Chi looking for more, perhaps. We have a quick throat chop by the Urshifu coming through. BMKO trying to dodge the Hyper Beam as well as possible. And with the Shadow Stick once again, it might just fall down to the Mimikyu. Yes, it does. And you see the passive of Mimikyu actually dodging the damage coming out from the Talonflame. And somehow, with the Shadow Stick, they actually get out of there scot-free. Yet again, we need to rename this team from Legends Reappear to How Did I Get Away with It?
I mean, they're just finding the way, right? They steal that Regieleki with that big secure from that Dragonite, and we're kind of seeing why a lot of teams are banning this Mimikyu. It's kind of run amok.
Yeah, you gotta think about what Balance had actually banned for this game for them to get such a draft right. We have a Mewtwo Y looking to shred down this Regieleki, so no value for Legends Reappear there, but I don't think they mind too much as they look to soak up some of the wild Pokemons on the map there. As a contest for this Altaria. Orion's going to pick it up for their team. Has the Flame Sweep available, but still some Unite moves are missing for Balance.
Balance needs to find this. Urshifu Unite move needs to find the Mewtwo one as well. Legends Reappear, though, they're appearing in this basement path, and they're just shredding, melting the Registeel down here.
Yeah, and they're melting BMKO as well as he will go down, and a huge Dragon Dance into the Cyber might prove to be the problem there, but somehow getting out with the Unite move will prove that Ethos is one of the Houdinis of his time. Gets slapped though into the fly, but still managed to stay in the playing field with a bit of healing coming out from the Elder Gods. Just managed to put it on before they went back to the Pokemon themselves, but a Trevenant Unite will be able to defend this pad. Meteor Storm coming out for the Miraidon, but gets Ebon Fisted back home, and a Chaos Streak of 2, but still not able to penetrate the defenses from Trevenant.
Yeah, they still haven't been able to turn some of these wins into some points, which I think it's just about due time, but the thing that I'm more worried about if I'm Balance is they're not watching their goals, so they don't have like protection of their paths, and they just lost that T1, which has enabled these levels to start to get out of hand, right? You have level 11 on that Miraidon, Dragonite, and now the Mimikyu. If they don't find some of their own levels, it could be a long day here in game number 2.
Yeah, and they definitely don't want it to be a long day. They want to get some points on the board, right? 137 to 6 points so far. Balance is not having a good time, and with Ethos being so early to every single objective, it just seems like once you take care of one, you don't even have a chance to breathe before another one gets taken down by Legends reappear, and they might just appear in this bottom part there as we have more experience going on the side of their team, and possibly a push against Orion and a Hooper here.
Playing with a bit of tempo. A little bit more tempo is this Hoopa that's going to bring the team in with the rings unbound. Going to press on forward for balance. Going to look to try to dive on in. Is Orion. There's the opportunity. Fly lands. He doesn't get the KO, and here comes Mewtwo.
Oh, Mewtwo with the Infinite Cyber will deal a ton of damage. Trevenant going down is great for them. They've spent so much time trying to take down this Pokemon, but the Meteor Storm will be able to stop any scores from coming through. The Urban Fist will be able to delete the Miraidon off, and the members of the Legends Reappear are not quite appearing anymore as they're all going to be on cooldown. They do manage to get the pad back, but the damage is already done, isn't it? The bottom tier 1 pad broken from balance there, and for once, they might be able to pocket themselves a basement Reggie. Yes, they do.
This is the win that they needed, right? I mean, just like that, the blink of an eye, a snap of a finger, balance is back in this game. They're able to take the pad. They got some crucial catches of those enemy Pokemon, kind of off the back of that Talonflame engage. Those flies were really threatening to come back down and fly right on top of them. And then Urshifu doing what it does best, cleaning them up with those big Wicked Blows.
I think the Wicked Blow will probably be looking to connect on the Ethos for this Rayquaza fight, right? Spawning around 45 seconds there. We have the last bit of burst for Contest, and yet again, going on the side of Legends Reappear. We have Naomi hopping in that bush, but they know now is not the right time to engage, right? No, they're going for a heavy slam anyway, and we have Ethos slept immediately. Has to go back out. The Hyper Beam will be able to connect, but no KO so far. Orion going down by an early power nap. Maybe late, I should say. That's not going to be able to save anybody but possibly themselves, and not having a defender unite for this Rayquaza fight, that could be a costly mistake.
It could be. I think they thought that the Ray fight might have started to break out there, but it was a little bit late. They could have still gone down and had a little bit of time to get back, but either way, it's a close battle. We'll see these two teams, where they're going to go. Ebon Fist directly on Dragonite.
And Ethos gets eviscerated straight up, and that's going to be an advantage for them. 5v4 scenario. We have the Shadow Sneak locking onto the wrong Pokemon. The Play With Me actually deletes the Talonflame out there, so Hoya Abifan gets to play the game steal. Urshifu helping it 100 up on top. 3v4 scenario. They're going to start this Rayquaza. The Rings of Balance is going to bring everybody back in it, though. Manny not on an HP, trying to stun out this Hooper. Buster on 1 HP will get stunned, and it's actually going to be Manny that drops down for Legends Reappear, but it's fine. The insurance policy of Legends Reappear will have appeared here with Ethos back at yet again with its Hyper Beam ready to go. The Flame Shield to push through, doesn't connect on anybody, tries to find Ethos there. We have Naomi going down to the Charge Beam, and we have a numbers advantage now on the side of Legends Reappear. This is really a game about balance, right? Which team has the numbers advantage? Which team can secure this Rayquaza? Because it is such an important game. Ethos on 1 HP. Bam KO also very low. Pushed by Manny, and Ashley gets knocked out. And with Icy also going down, it is going to be a 2v3. This action does not stop here, Kyle, as both teams are ripping and trying to get both members down. We have Xavier pushing out by Naomi, but the scores could make the difference here, Kyle.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge lead. This is going to be Legends Reappear that they need to make a move happen. They're down by more than 100 points, so they need Rayquaza, and they're going to need to make it happen fast. Talonflame, big fly, that's going to close out that Pokemon. Dragonite needs to get in the fray. They're going to Draco Impact directly on Ray. This is going to be down to a flip, and do they have enough time? Will they get the secure here, Foo?
They're looking for it, but a huge power nap coming in good time will mean that Ethos gets consistently stunned. The Hyper Beam goes a bit early because it's not boosted. They do get the Rayquaza, but with 3 seconds to go, that is not going to be enough time to get any Hundo Burgers in. We're going to be able to wait and see for this result because I don't think it was enough, was it?
Yeah, this should be balance on top here. 313, 197. They got a nice 60-point dunk, but that's not going to spell a dub. Ooh. It is going to be balance, taking game number 2, getting us to a game number 3. We'll see if they're going to be able to balance out the score and send us to a bracket reset next game.
Well, that's for us to hope so, right? I mean, I honestly didn't anticipate Balance to be able to come back into that Rayquaza fight, knowing there's no Snorlax Unite, right? But the fact that they were able to kind of kite away and get some of the important picks, such as the Ebon Fist straight on Ethos, did delay, I think, Legends Reappear's ability to rip that Rayquaza. And also, having no Secure on the Dragonite there just meant that it was a risk that they didn't want to take. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right, whether they got the Rayquaza or not, because Balance were able to stall out that fight and get some nice backcaps in.
Huge. I mean, the backcaps worked out, and when you have a Hoopa, you can really play that card, right? I mean, you went for the backcap that extended their lead, and then Hoopa's just like, all right, it's okay. If the fight starts, I'll just bring you, just come in. Just come in, friends. And we saw the Trevenant try to push out the Hoopa with the rings unbound. Almost was able to, but then Urshifu, back from once it finished their score, was able to close that KO out. And Balance just kind of played it really cool. They're a bunch of chill dudes, and they got it done in game 2.
Just a chill guy, right?
Just a chill
group
guy.
of chilled guys. They're not panicked at all, and I think the fact that Naomi got their Unite move back towards the end actually was great timing, because you have the stun from the initial power nap into the double flips of I guess if you turn around the Snorlax, I don't know what's the correct term here. When you flip the Snorlax over, it also stuns them. And for a Dragonite that's in the pit, that is the worst news possible, because you can't get your stacks with Dragon Dance. You're consistently knocked up. And then when the beam went a little bit early, even though the Mimikyu was able to secure it, there's so much lost time, right? And that's time that they could have actually used to go onto the pad and score those hundreds. But the fact that they didn't get time to do that and it came down to the wire, does it get closer than this? I don't think so.
It's gonna come down to the wire. This is always exciting, right? I always love a good game 3. And not only a game 3, this is an elimination game. You can see if Balance can force that bracket reset in this game 3. They're gonna have to, right? But if they
Balance has
do,
no choice.
Legends Reappear that'll be on their heels.
It would be pretty crazy if back-to-back cups have a bracket reset here, Kyle, and maybe OC might be known as the region to have the closest finals ever. We might be a small region, but we definitely pack a punch with the games that we're able to broadcast to everybody, and just the sheer I guess will of both these teams, right? They both know how important this game is, more so for Balance there. I mean, this is a new team with some new members, right? They want to make sure they leave a good mark, at least, whether they're going to be staying together after this cup. At least, putting in your resume, let's say you can win out your December Cup. I mean, coming number 1 is definitely sounding better than coming second in the OC region, right?
Champion sounds better than runner-up always.
Oh, 100%.
Always want to have that champion, right? Like that's the crux of it. That's what you want. That's what you want to talk about. You don't want to talk about second place. That's just the team that fell a little bit short. You want that gold medal. You want that target on your back for the rest of the season, because people know that you have the capability of winning it all. So definitely want to close it out here if your Legends Reappear. Balance, they want to force that bracket reset. They want a chance for the money. They want a chance to be champion. And I said it. I said it at the start of the show. That's my team. I'm riding with them. They stood tall. They made the plays at Ray. I think they're going to close this out. I think they're at least forcing this bracket to be reset. I don't think this is it for them.
Well, let's see what they can do, though. Regardless, I think in a region where we only have one spot and regionals is a tournament to win, right? All these players, they're not only building up their team, they're also building up their individual resume. And whether they're going to be sticking together for regionals or whether they're going to be completing on a different team. I'm sure when you are trying to create a team, you're looking at the past results as well, right? Obviously, past results is not always an indication of future performance, but if you can say you've won December Cup and came second in another cup, that gives you a little bit more credibility into the Pokemon that you want to play and the performance that you might be able to bring out for your team, right? And these players, right, they play so many different Pokemon, so many different roles. And just as a note on Balance, Buster actually was known for his top path gaming, has actually switched over to support because he feels like he is going to be able to support his team better in that aspect. And that is why BemKO has taken up that top path position. And, having that, I guess, knowledge and the ability to switch roles, and obviously paying dividends for their team today. And even Orion as well. Orion was they went from a supporter into a defender last season, and then they played bot lane attacker, and then now they're central area. I mean, they've gone through the entire world, right, of competitive Unite, and if they can clutch this out, that's going to be good news for them.
Let's see, looking for good news. We're all looking for good news. I'm looking for good news for Balance. I believe them. I believe in them. I think they'll be able to do it. I'm trying to see what they banned in that previous match. So yeah, that makes sense. So they banned the Psyduck. They banned the Umbreon. Did Legends Reappear banned those two? They were on the purple side. And then we had Balance ban the Blissey and the Inteleon. So I really like that pivot. They didn't like Inteleon because of all the secures that it was able to do. So I think they felt like they could deal with the Dragonite. They just couldn't find an answer for the secure ability of that Inteleon. So I like it. And when you have an Urshifu on your side, you kind of put the secures in your pocket. Same with the Fly on that Talonflame. Heavy secure ability, and when things got contested, I think it kind of played into their advantage.
Yeah, it's kind of like you got to put eggs in more than one basket, right? And if Urshifu did go down, we have Orion on the Fly as well. But while we get prepared for this third game, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a quick break, and so that we can all be refreshed coming back, because this could be the last game Balance gets to play. But if Balance does take this, Legends Reappear, they've got more work to do for sure. So we'll see you guys right back. Okay, Kyle, one apiece is the story here for our grand finals of the OC December Cup. We're going to go straight in. This is the game number 3. Balance against Legends reappear, Kyle.
We're gonna reappear in the dub column, in the champion column for this December Cup, and they're 1 win away. Balance does want to even the score and set this bracket for a little bit of a reset, but either way, we got game 3 on deck.
Yes, we do, and Ethos going to be repping the Gibble once again, so you know they mean business. A lane Cupfu again for BemKO. I think these teams are just playing Pokemon they know they have won with before. I mean, it's the most important game of today's tournament, right? Might as well rep it, as Buster maybe caught up into a situation there. The power of the rip and the stun from Glossop were able to knock them out.
Ethos just forced 2 eject buttons and also got a KO from Balance. They forced the eject from Kung Fu. They forced the eject from Hoopa. They did use their eject, but in an offensive capacity. So pretty good early game so far for this Pokemon. It's the Ripper. I'm really looking forward to see what Legends Reappear is able to do with this thing.
Yeah, Chi-Chi has the push available for them, but gets stunned out immediately. Still gets the Altaria, though, which is a good use for them. We have a Ivysaur on the side of Balance there, so that's a Pokemon we haven't seen in today's matchup. So I'm keen to see whether they're going to be that beam to counter them right on, whether they're going to run that Petal Dance.
I love both builds right now. I'm a notorious Venusaur stan. I have been for quite a bit. I wasn't surprised by the nerfs to Solar Beam, but the buffs to Giga Drain have been honestly meta-changing. We're seeing a lot of teams playing this Pokemon, not only as that like bot attacker or a jungler, but we're kind of seeing teams utilize it as almost another like brawly defender in a way, because it allows your team to kind of stay upright. The Giga Drain's resets are insane right now.
Yeah, also the damage reduction as well. I'm going to have all these 8-minute bursts going aside of Legends Reappear. I did see Giga Drain come out from Challenge though, so it really could definitely be that Petal Dance moveset. We have an eject Dragon Ball to go through. Doesn't quite deal the damage that they would like, but they were able to isolate Orion though. Possibly getting a KO will be kind of huge for them, but the Thief from Buster will be able to actually keep Orion sustained there with the beam coming through. So he's not going to be a Petal Dance no more. This is going to go straight on Legends Reappear as they get 2 KOs and looking for more.
You got the Giga Drain and the Solar Beam. I've actually played this as well, and I think it's still very strong. It's like, you know, not necessarily what pairs well, but with how strong Giga Drain is, along with the range of Beam, you kind of get a little bit of best of both worlds. You get the damage reduction from that Giga Drain to kind of help against the dive from things like that Garchomp, that Blaziken, and then you get that long range ability to help with things like this Miraidon.
Yeah, Hannah Montana all around, right? You get the best
No
of both worlds. I'm going to stop singing and go back to casting, I think, as this Regirock will be spawned for Legends Reappear, and that's going to make quick work by the Miraidon. Oh my gosh, BemKO so close to securing that.
Oh, you got to get your Wicked Blow up there, unfortunately. Unable to do so. A little bit of a teleport there. We're going to see the Hoopa just kind of continually utilize this trick along with the Phantom Force to kind of move in and out. But moving in and out is this Talonflame, the Brave Burden coming out.
Yeah, no fly for Orion here. They're going to be choosing the Brave Bird, and they're going to Flame Sweep out of there. Live It Outrage, not able to connect on anybody. And I'll just have to point out, this is the first game, I think, that Legends Reappear has actually lost that top Reggie Alecki. And so, you know, looking at on paper-wise, they're also behind on points. So whether Balance have found a way to disrupt the strategy coming out from Legend Reappear, we'll wait to find out there, as the Verdant Anger will go through with the beam. It doesn't actually quite connect, but Blaziken on a 1 HP and a Dream has to quickly dash out with its Flaming Fist. The Moonlight Prance will come out for Manny, but I think it's just a distraction to make sure the other members of Legend Reappear get out safely.
Great response from Balance. You really would want that beam to connect. Might have cleaned up 1, maybe 2 if they were able to hit it. I'm not sure if they were running the Energy Amp, but Energy Amp Venusaur with the Verdant Anger beam combo is almost like a delete button. You usually take out 1, maybe 2. So really look for that towards this late game. When these teams get clumped up, this Venusaur becomes very powerful tool.
that's a great point. I think looking at the late game as well, there's a definitely way more secure potential, right, on balance. We have the Venusaur Solar Beam, we have the Wicked Blow, and also the Brave Bird to get that secure. And on the side of Legends Reappear, it's just going to be that Blaziken. So all the eggs in one basket for Legends Reappear as we look for Chi-Chi as the Blaziken getting stunned out and has to really help out from Icy there with a Cotton Cloud Crash to keep themselves in the playing field. But a nice scoop from Ethos will be able to single out Buster. Can Yomi stop the scoop from happening? Get scooped out themselves. And the Braver is going to waste no time on these people that have been slept. Yet again, a disconnect on the Flame Sweep. We're not able to do enough damage. Both teams going back in again. The Cotton Guard able to keep themselves still in the playing field.
A little bit of a different look here for this Garchomp. Where we saw Balance utilize that Eldegoss with the Leaf Tornado. So we don't see that here from Legends Reappear. We do see Neome just give a little bit of a sleep and walk away from that Blaziken. Basement objectives up top, Regieleki also up. Teams are a little bit split, a little bit unsure on which way they want to go, but 3 members down in the basement path for Legends Reappear, but Bemco none the wiser.
Yeah, BMKO might have some more friends at his party there. Has to quickly dash out because they know against 3 members, it's going to be a very hard way to contest. We have a Verdant Anger Beam combo, though. Doesn't connect on Xavier, so Xavier gets out scot-free. Or should I say no, but the Rings of Bound will bring everyone up to the top path, maybe. Buster going down there, though. Actually, no one took Buster's teleport, did they? I'm not too sure. We have 3 members out for balance, though, so something must have happened in that top path.
Yeah, I think the communication from Hoopa is probably like, no, don't take it, don't take it, don't take it. I just wanted to see if we could push this in, or push a little bit further. So once they saw that Legends responded quickly, they just fully vacated. And this is the problem, right, Fu? This is why we talk about the Garchomp, just the ability to fully rip an objective, Balance unable to respond. Not only just the Garchomp, but then you also have the secure ability from this Blaziken. So really look and watch out for these 2, as they might be up to some shenanigans.
Some shenanigans indeed. I think it's really textbook shenanigans for Legends to take back control of the map by taking that Regieleki and forcing Buster yet again in that Regieleki jail. I mean, that's a supporter likes to stay in jail, I guess, there, as we have a bit of a skirmish down in the bottom part there. Beams will connect onto Manny, but it's just not going to do enough damage to take out enough. Some pokes will come through yet again. It's nothing. Icy can't heal up for their end, but 24 seconds until possibly a final Rayquaza for today's grand finals.
20 seconds. Legends Reappear, looking to get into position, get ready for this Rayquaza. Both teams have a basement pad, and they're electing to kind of play through this bottom path. So we may see kind of the fight break out here, but there we go. Avon Fist onto the Blaziken.
Oh, straight away we go, and we're going to have a collapse of everyone's Unite seemingly coming through. Verdant Anger will also be used, but it's going to be Garchomp that comes out on top. Livid Outrage will be able to knock out 4 members of Balance. It's an absolute Venusaur. The Beam, I mean, there's a reason why you choose Beam, but they're going to be so far out of the Rayquaza pin. It is going to be game over. I mean, that's not solid. That's not liquid. That was straight up gas, Kyle. Legends Reappear, taking
move appropriately and goes fly, and then he moves in return, stealing builds from the with this Umbreon Unite, dropping all the heals with the Eldegoss, and then doing what Garchomp does best, rip the Rayquaza, and they did it perfectly. Legends Reappear, congratulations, you are the December Cup champions of Oceania.
Well done. And big shout out to Balance as well for making it that far with some new members. Regardless, though, it is going to be Legends Reappear that comes out on top, seemingly appearing randomly throughout the season sometimes to win a cup and just still prove that these bunch of players on that team are still very, very strong. I mean, it is definitely members I don't like to see in my rank lobby, so I'm glad that this is playing the cup today. Also, a shout out to the other 2 teams that played in today's December Cup finals. We have a shout out to Antic X Odium and also Bruff Esports for putting out a good show. Yet again, Legends Reappear, our champion for the OC region for the December Cup.
Fantastic showing for these teams. we have a champion. No a trip to EUIC this time like the AOS Cup did, but still get a little bit of a prize. Still get some bragging rights. Get all that you want there. I mean, team showed up and we have a champion. Do you think, Fu, as we kind of wrap things up, do you think Legends Reappear might be the team to beat, or how do you feel about the other teams still that are participating in the region?
I think obviously being not a cup to the same caliber as your AOS Cup or your final stretch qualifiers, it is understandable that the now teams did drop in terms of numbers, but it's going to be the same type of players that come back, the players that like to play in these tournament environments, and seeing Legends Reappear actually taking away from the other seeds for this month's tournament, I'm sure it really just fires up the other teams as well, thinking, well, this is the standard, right? They've really elevated. They went to the winners, and for once, it's not someone coming from the losers bracket that actually won the tournament. You can do it just flying through the winners. And Legends Reappear, if they do reappear next month, I'm sure, Kyle, these teams are going to be like, well, there's a target for everyone to take down. And some teams live on the pressure, and Legends Reappear definitely a team to watch out for the upcoming cups. But to wrap up today, there are a lot of teams to thank, a lot of people to thank as well. I just saw in our production chat that they said the OC curse is over, no more bracket reset, and I mean, it's true. Legends Reappear is the first team to stop a bracket reset for this season, at least. But we have to thank some people. Peachy for the production today, with Rosanda on the observer side of things, making it smooth for us. And, I've done the casting observing thing today, and you can clearly tell what a terrible kerfuffle that was on my end. So thank you so much, Rosana and Peach, for giving up their time. Our cast as well, Kyle. I mean, I feel like we've stuck together for like 8+ hours today, seemingly from the morning on my end, but from the late afternoon on yours till the night for you. Thank you so much for coming through over seas and being our honorary OC member and casting at the finals with us today. Lobo as well, as much as he wanted to cast today, unfortunately he had some difficulties with the connection, but he still managed to bring us as much action as he could. Also, Shiv helping us out with the admins and really providing us with some additional information to fluff as well. And obviously, Battle Hub GG, thanks so much for giving us this platform to actually broadcast the talent of OC Region, right? Without you guys and without the production team and everyone involved, OC doesn't have a broadcast, and without broadcast, we won't get to see moments like this, that what we saw, whether it's the Rip, the Garchomp Gaming, the Secure from some of these teams. I think everyone is grateful for the opportunity as well. So thank you guys so much. I think we have a raid target hopefully soon. Carl, do you have any ending words before we wrap up today's broadcast?
No real words, just again, just reiterating all the shout outs that you had. Takes a village to put on a production, so good job to everybody involved. And we will see you in a month for January Cup. I'm really excited to see the team show out. Hopefully we get a bigger and better turnout so we can continue casting as many matches as possible. I'm really excited to see how these teams play some of the new releases that are going to be coming out in the next few weeks. And I look forward to seeing less bugs in Pokemon Unite so we could see more Pokemon.
Oh, I'm excited to see Tinkatonk in the next cup, so that's what I'm going to be looking forward to. But as they say, new year, new me. I hope to see everyone in chat back in for the new year. But have a safe break, a good holiday, and like we always say, see you guys in the next cup. But January, here we come. Bye-bye.